You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. Happy Friday, everyone. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert with you, finishing off week number 3. Great job, guys. We made it. Today was the first day I pulled in the parking lot, and there was like 2 more cars there. There must be some early morning yoga this morning or something like that.
I had the same thought. You've done 3 weeks of this now. I've gotten used to like which cars park where, what it kind of looks like.
I think even parking spots. I'd parked in the same spot for each of the first 14 shows.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the same spot I have been recently, but there's a car next to me now instead of just this open space.
Very.
I just swing my door open and just step right out into.
This will also be the last day that we will have live sports on during the show until I don't know when. I mean,
the Winter Olympics is coming
like we
up.
We don't have to wait too long.
Next
It's like in a couple weeks, I think.
I think we have like a maybe at most 10-day pause, and then we're gonna have like 2 straight weeks of sports.
This is amazing.
We'll probably
It's
be
a good start for us.
We'll probably be watching the opening ceremony.
I thought we would never get live sports during the show.
And then
all of a sudden we're sitting in the
point,
middle of the Aussie Open and then to the Winter Olympics.
At some point, we're gonna get winter. Not winter. We're gonna get the baseball classic.
World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, that's true.
I couldn't come up with a word. World.
Yeah,
I said winter, and then I just had to like skip to baseball classic because I couldn't find the word.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit concerned about.
We're gonna get like Netherlands, Japan. At 6 a.m. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
We're going to love it.
What are some other early there is another tennis tournament that happens like overseas. Is the French Open?
That'll be
Wimbledon as well.
Yeah,
Wimbledon.
That'll be
Open and Wimbledon would be May, early June, and then July. In the 9 o'clock hour, we'll get some coverage of the combine at some point. We can just make sure Michael Severe's in watching with us. He can tell us what's going on.
I guess we'll have to watch it. I mean,
we don't have to. I'm just telling you things that are on in the morning.
No, but we do, because our other options for things that are on television are like podcasts at this point in the day. They just throw podcasts on TV now.
It's just Get Up. Everybody does their version of Get Up.
Yeah, it's
Get Up does their version of Get Up.
Or First Take or the Barstool stuff.
I know.
Pretty much any of the Take shows.
What would be on right now?
Hey, we are one of those Take shows.
That's true, but we are on the radio.
Yes, but also available elsewhere.
So the thing that was supposed to be on over the last couple of weeks during this time is Unsportsmanlike with Evan Canty and Michelle.
I don't know who any of these people
are. Canty and Michelle.
Do you know who Chris Canty is?
I don't know. Well, I feel like I've heard that name before.
I feel like I have too, but I don't know.
Former football
I don't know
player.
who Evan Cohen is.
Evan Cohen.
And I have no idea who Michelle Smallmon is.
The first Michelle I thought of was Michelle Beadle.
Same, and I was like, I don't think she's on ESPN anymore.
Nope.
She hasn't been on for a long time.
Nope. I think nope. I don't think
she drove across the bridge and through the match and said, "See you later, Stinktown."
So right now,
that was that. We
got Sinner and Djokovic. I saw, and the reason that I was alerted to this morning was I saw I checked Twitter once before I got on the show here, and I saw some Padilla tweets from like 2 hours ago from the Alcaraz match.
Didn't he tell us that he's
a huge tennis
to
guy.
Stay up?
Yeah, but he's a huge tennis guy.
Because I don't want to stay up, and then here he is tweeting at 4 a.m.
Yeah, but he's a huge tennis guy.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's fun to watch.
I was once a huge tennis guy. I once stayed up to watch much of the Australian Open.
Big tennis guy, Mike Schaefer.
That's something people may not realize. It lasted until maybe I was 24, and then
now we got our modern day Nadal versus Federer.
We do.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Nadal Federer. I mean, I liked Nadal a lot. It was never my favorite, but that's who I rooted for in that specific.
The king of clay.
Or were you more excited by the one before that? It was who was the Sampras and Agassi?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Agassi.
Yeah,
I liked Agassi. James Blake was my guy, but he was like most of my sports teams, never won the big events when they mattered.
Okay, well, hopefully you picked the right horse this time around. All right, welcome to the show on a Friday. Today we'll have a fun time. We'll talk to a couple dear friends of the show. Jake Sorensen coming up at 9:15. Jake got exactly what he wanted this week.
Yep.
Nebraska basketball lost.
How many times are we going to ask some version? Are you happy?
Are you happy now? Are you happy now? And once again, he's going to say no and laugh and then secretly think, yes, I am excited about this. Yeah. So we're excited to ask him that question in a few hours. And Jeremy Werner of Illinois 24/7, the Illini Inquirer.
You used to have him on your show.
I have had Jeremy. Jeremy is my go-to Illinois beat guy, as he
probably
should be.
Going back to recruiting hour days, I assume.
That's how it started, yes.
I mean, he is the guy when it comes to all things the Illini, and I'm excited to have him back on.
Yep, so he'll be on with us today at 8:30. Illinois won last night in a sort of choppy one against Washington, and then turns around and heads to Lincoln.
Brad Underwood was already working the officials for the next game in the post-game press conference. A true coach in that regard.
I'm telling you, those dudes do not care what they say at all. It's incredible. I mean, we already told you about the guys earlier in the week who said all the variety of different things about one was disappointed that if he wasn't going to play, he was going to have to do something drastic. Yeah. And then one of them was talking about the good day that Keaton Wagler had by saying some cuss words. Anyway, Jeremy will join us at 8:30. That is the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We want to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweet at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joe Arcola on Twitter. Email Connor, Mike Joe at 1620thezone.com. Joey, sorry, at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamer.
Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. Somewhere where Schaefer is not
there.
This is the point in the show every morning where Schaefer is reminded that he forgot to join.
Yeah, it's just one of these things that hasn't quite hit routine 3 weeks in.
Joey's
somehow.
just sitting. He's been sitting there for the last 8 minutes thinking, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it?
That's why there's a studio cam up in Mike's spot, just so you could see his pretty little face.
Someone left their dongle.
We got dongles on dongles around here.
Which I don't know who would have been in this.
Well, After Hours had a show last night, and that's where Jimmy Allen would sit.
Probably Jimmy.
Okay, well, Jimmy left his dongle.
Jimmy, what do they say? What is that colloquialism? Jimmy would lose his head if it wasn't attached to his body.
And he don't care.
There's that one too, but that for a person who has a propensity to lose things, Jimmy would lose his head if it wasn't attached to his body. Speaking of the YouTube chat, Debo writes in, excellent pullover, Connor Hamper. Well, it's a big Creighton day today. I'm headed over to the Hope Lodge right after we get done. By the way, we're going to take the show pretty much all the way to 10 today. So we're full on doing our jobs for 4 hours.
No cutting out early for us.
We're going to go to the Hope Lodge.
We do more than 4 hours every day.
We do. Yeah. That's true.
I just want to make sure we're giving ourselves credit.
Good point. That's fair. So I'll go to the Hope Lodge after this and help get Matt started over there. And then tonight, it will be the Creighton baseball first pitch dinner, which I'm excited for. So it's a big Creighton day. And I think I've decided I'm going to wear a suit tomorrow to the Jays game.
Oh,
I think I'm going to wear a suit with a
you're
pink,
going to go right up to Dan Hurley and be like, "You're not the best dressed now, Dan."
and I'll say one ring, Baldy, or something like that.
You should bring Josh Otson along and have him flash all of his Reaver rings to Dan Hurley, saying, "I got more of those. I got more of these than what you got."
Do you think Josh would lend them to me? Do you think we could do like a layaway situation? Where I like,
How many Reaver rings does Josh have?
I think it's like 4 now or 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5.
Because they did like a double. I mean, I want to say they did 2 rings one of the years because they did like a championship ring and then like a back-to-back ring. And so I don't know. He's got a whole handful at this point. I could really use those and catch Dan Hurley's attention.
See, this is where if Creighton baseball had given you a ring,
I could have had my one. I would have worn it with a suit. It would have been a great.
You could have worn it at first pitch tonight.
I could have,
and then you could have worn it tomorrow. But you got to talk to them. They gotta get you a ring. You were part of the whole thing.
I got to hold Glenn's, which was cool, but he didn't let me keep it.
I'm surprised.
You should ask Glenn to borrow his for the night.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know.
Just for the bit.
I need to have one while I'm in earshot of Dan Hurley, and maybe he won't be super duper triggered tomorrow.
No, he'll be triggered.
You think so?
Yeah. There's something.
Do you think
about...
they'll have to get out the big long fake tunnel that people photoshopped last year?
I remember that. That was fun.
There's something about this building that I think will just, the moment that the bus gets there and he walks through the door, like it's just the body experience shifts.
He immediately gets triggered.
He's gonna have like it's like a dog. Like he's gonna have the hair on the back of his neck come up, and he's gonna be a little bit tense. The entire time.
One thing that Creighton will still have, even if tomorrow doesn't go very well, they still have a long-term dominance of UCONN, which is hilarious, and they'll still
need that tomorrow.
They're gonna need a little bit of magic.
Just more than a little bit.
They're gonna need a little bit of magic.
They need the rims on the UConn side to be just a little smaller than the rims on the Creighton side.
I need Liam McNeely to stay away. A lot of different things to happen. Them to have, for some reason, a really bad offensive day, and then Dan Hurley to get teed up maybe like 6 times.
Ooh, that's going to be tough.
Wait,
that's
going
to come back.
It is impossible.
He's going to come back as like Bobby Valentine.
Yes, style. He will have Mr. Potato Head glasses, come back, get 2 more tees, and then come back
as the mascot
and have a wig on.
Okay.
Yes, and then he'll get 2 more.
The wig will hide him,
which will result in 12 free throws and 12 extra possessions.
I don't know why, but Dan Hurley in a wig made me think of Stewart from Mad TV. That had his whole thing. That seems unfair to Dan Hurley.
Okay.
That's what I can do.
Debo falls up. He says, I don't know. He said his teams need to be better about destroying the other team's will to live, and we're up next.
Yeah, like there is a case to be made that
he might want some.
They played 4 or 5 games in a row where it just hasn't felt like
they haven't been particularly good lately. Yeah,
which I know has been frustrating to the fans that want Nebraska to have leapfrogged them in the ranking.
Oh, I like this. Once again, I like how Nebraska ball fans now are at least interested in what's going on with UConn now.
Yeah.
No, they haven't been.
The general thought is they're barely beating Seton Hall. They're barely beating Providence.
Okay, with Seton Hall.
I know, but I'm just explaining to you what I'm hearing.
Sure.
I am aware that these teams can play basketball. For whatever Georgetown, when they were here and we talked about them, they're a better basketball team probably than even their record is indicated.
Yeah, they have some talent.
I've watched them a couple times now, and when they heat up, I mean, they can score.
They heated up in that game.
They lost that game by 2 to UConn. They kind of blew that at
Georgetown.
The end. Yeah.
2. Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel like UConn's been in several of these games lately. Villanova was overtime. Villanova's good. That's not a bad team. But it just hasn't been like a 81-65 kind of win for UConn.
Gonna need all the fairy dust. I would imagine
I don't know where Creighton's defense is coming from, but if they're gonna win, it's gotta come from somewhere.
That's right.
Is there a particular rooting interest you have so Nebraska could get ahead of
I'm
Like,
rooting for
particular
the
team in the
pink out
rankings?
to go really well and for people to donate a lot at the Hope Lodge today
God, I
and
would
for
love to hear
everything
that.
to be
He's
love
rooting for Big Meteor except for that. Interesting.
I offer no take. I am a professional broadcaster. I'm the guy on the call yesterday.
Are you Nick Stauskas?
Yes, I'm Nick Skauskas.
Good.
You tweet at me, I'm coming at you tenfold online.
All right. We are off and running. Elsewhere today on the show, maybe we'll finally get to that topic I've had on the sheet all week about regarding the most watched games in college football this year.
I was kind of waiting to see if it was making it into next week.
It might.
Yeah.
It's very possible depending on what we do today. Of course, Nebraska preview, a Creighton preview, and Nebraska. We'll detail Nebraska fans' attacks online.
Been a busy week. I know he's on air right now, but I almost feel like we need Jack Mitchell to explain where the fan base is coming from in this week in which it's been nonstop fighting online.
Maybe they feel as if they have been provoked a little bit, but I feel like there has been some attacks this week.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, there have definitely been some attacks this week.
And then we'll catch up on a couple Husker football topics that we have on the sheet today. Also, a great time to be a student at Indiana University, except for one little thing. We will get to that as we go on throughout the show today. Once again, I want to hear from you all. 402-951-1620. Join us on YouTube all throughout today. And don't forget, if you're waking up with us, we'll mention this a couple times today. If you feel you can, drop off at the Hope Lodge today. A couple of paper supply items to keep them rolling over there, Matt, and then of course Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be out there. So 10 to 6, drop by, and they would appreciate your donations. 80-30 Farnham for our Pink Out broadcast today. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Here's a comment from Matthew on YouTube. If Happer shaved his beard, he could pass as Caillou, a children's book / cartoon for those who don't know. Oh, no, I know about Caillou. I've seen Caillou.
No Caillou. We haven't done it.
I think Dan Hurley already claimed Caillou.
I don't think you guys get it. I am not going to shave my beard.
Good.
Precisely for the reason that Matthew is talking about. I look like a complete idiot when I don't have a beard.
Even when you had hair, you looked bad when you shaved your beard.
Exactly.
And I tried to tell you this. I was like, hey, from one friend to another, there's a reason we're hiding our face. We look better this way. And you would be like, well, I like to shave it all down and start fresh.
I do like that.
Every 6 months or so.
Now, I haven't done that in 4 years.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's been 4 years since I've been face-bald.
You've learned your lesson, and I appreciate it. It looks good. You have a good beard. You do a nice job with it.
As we've discussed before, I had somewhat of a traumatizing first couple weeks here at 1620 The Zone. Not only that I left my trunk open multiple times in the first week and got a company-wide email, but also I was going to trim up my beard and I cut a little nick into it. And I was like, all right, I guess I have to shave it off. And people were like, whoa.
The last time I did that was ahead of a family vacation in 2014. And I just went with the goatee. And then I look at photos from that vacation, and it's the one time in my life that I ever had a goatee. It just does not look good.
Oh, you know what? Actually, what happened was that time
because mine was off to the side, over here.
I went to a new bar because I was living in working in Omaha again. And I went to I had to ditch my Lincoln barber who I loved. And I went to a new Omaha barber and it was bad.
Yeah, I'm in the market.
It was bad.
I have to officially give up my Lincoln barber who I've held on to. I've made it work where I've had to be back in Lincoln for stuff that I've just.
Oh, really?
I've done that.
This entire time. It's been 6 months.
I need to. Yeah, I need to find an Omaha location that isn't great clips, which is what I've used in a pinch.
You do.
But yeah, I'll work on that. I know there's great options out there. I just have to.
I know some guys.
I have to figure it out. So
I know some people. We can get you to the right place. Okay, sorry. So thank you for sending in that comment because you are correct, Matthew. The people who have beards here look like idiots without them. By the way, text from the 515. Everyone tells me it's okay to look like an idiot. Well, that's nice. You have some good people around you. Coming up this weekend, I have a question for you, Schaefer. I figured that you would have an opinion on this.
I love having opinions.
Will this be, on Sunday, the most consequential game in the history of Pinnacle Bank Arena?
No, but it's not far from it. I mean, the most consequential was No-Sit Sunday. Both before and after, everybody knew the stakes going into that. Nebraska needed that win to really enhance its bubble profile. The win solidified its ability to stay in the top 4 of the conference, gave them the double bye, all of that stuff.
It was such a unique thing because it was so direct, right? It was just you win and you're in. There's pretty much no doubt about it.
Well, and it wasn't even a guaranteed you're in, but you're getting the double bye, and then if you win one more game after that, you are rock solid. And Nebraska famously blew a 19-point lead to Aaron Kraft in Ohio State in the what did that be, quarterfinals that year of the Big Ten. I remember the Arizona sports bar I was sitting at while watching that all go down.
Fun.
Because I was at spring training during all of that. But it was No-Sit Sunday. It's that thing is going to be hard to beat for what it was for a variety of reasons. But this, for an entirely different reason. Now, retroactively, should Nebraska win this game, go on to win the conference?
That would have been my take.
Retroactively, this will go down as a monument game, but I still don't know that it's going to. I don't know that it's going to supersede what that day was.
What if I change it? What if I change the question? I mean, you just went through a couple different things. So if I change the word from consequential to, whatever it might be, loud,
I think the environment's going to be absolutely outstanding.
100%. So I think there is a chance, and the no sit Sunday, it has lore now, and it's been a long time, and people still go back to it. And it's like, nah, nothing will ever beat that. Nothing will ever beat that. Nothing will ever beat that. We just told you a bunch of reasons why. However, this is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
What's on the line on Sunday?
Yeah, no, I mean,
and what's on the line for the remainder of the season, and where Nebraska's at from a national standpoint right now. This is their first home game ever as a top 5 team, and they're playing another top 10 team who they just so happen to be tied with in the Big Ten standings, and we're halfway through the Big Ten slate. So not only
and
is
it's
it
their last game against the other teams that they're tied with in the Big Ten, so it's your last opportunity to propel yourself one more ahead of those,
right,
and then stay ahead of that.
So not only is it really, really consequential, I just think it'll be like, and they're coming off of this almost perfect loss.
Yeah, it's weird because you asked that question, and I was more dismissive of what ended up playing out, partially because there's no way of knowing that. But I guess, did you know that Sam Hoiberg was also sick? I didn't find that out until like yesterday. But Sam had the flu before Rink.
I didn't know that.
So Sam was sort of coming off of it, whereas Rink was just sort of getting into the I guess meat of it, if you would. Yeah. So they had a lot going on, and you asked a question early in the week, which is a fair question. I was very dismissive of it because I just kind of felt like if Nebraska lost, it was going to be the sort of loss where you don't get credit for it. Here, they end up getting extra credit because they played out of their minds in a horrible situation, and everybody sort of acknowledges that. And now it's like, if you turn around and you win against Illinois, you're not going to drop at all in the polls. No. And you probably only cemented yourself as like a real actual thing to be reckoned with.
So not only was it a perfect loss, I think, and it also has created.
Should we start with Jake Sorensen with this? Given that you were rooting for it, do you consider this to be the best possible loss Nebraska could have had?
Ever. So it is also created, we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show, a variety of different controversies this week involving Nebraska fans on the internet. So we'll get to, it's sort of in a way created that, but you got the people nationally saying, hey man, like what they did was really impressive. I saw Rothstein's deal yesterday. It was like they were the most impressive team of the week. They've only played once and they lost so far, which is you have a case for it at this point. Also, the controversies. Also, you lost. Also, this game is gigantic. Like, so it's created this, I think, environment going, if we're just talking about the crowd and what it's going to look like on Sunday, where there's so much on the line. You have this special, whiteout thing. Obviously, there's the pre-existing stuff of the fans love this team and all of that. And then also a twinge of, we're kind of pissed.
Yeah.
Like we're like, and we kind of need this. And so I think all of that together is like the perfect cocktail for this to be the most memorable day in Pinnacle Bank Arena's history.
Yeah. If and when Brad Underwood starts the game before the, even the first TV timeout, and he's hassling the officials about a perceived no call, I think the boos are going to be raining down on him. I think anytime the officials do anything, there will be a heavy lust of boos towards them.
It would be
honestly, if you're going to the game on Sunday, I would advise you to try to get in earlier than you would otherwise. I think the lines are going to be really long.
Yep.
It's usually a Sunday afternoon. People are going to get there early, hang out at one of the establishments, and then wander over. And that line to get in is going to be long. Like whether you're coming from the bridge side, over there, or if you're the front doors. I mean, I would just advise you to if you want to make sure you're in for tip, give yourself a little extra time because it's slow to get through, and everyone usually has the same thought of when they're going to arrive. Mm-hmm. So just be patient with that. But once you're in there, go nuts.
People are going to be taking. There's going to be a bunch of pictures from the bridge of the line that goes all the way across the bridge. So we'll have to check that bingo card, that box.
Yeah, I will be arriving very early to have an afternoon in Lincoln, and then I'll wander in whenever I wander in, and we'll go from there.
I will not be arriving, but
Would you like me to send pictures to you of the lines?
I mean, no, not of the lines. I get annoyed by those, but like whatever. You got to wait in the line to get in the thing. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I kind of want to go now. I got to see.
I am
gotta
excited
see this.
for this atmosphere, and if Nebraska plays well, I mean, it's going to be really, really loud.
Got to catch a glimpse of these warlocks. I gotta see this for myself. It's gonna be
you
like
haven't
that.
seen them in person this year, have you?
No, I haven't been to a Nebraska
right.
men's game this year. No.
Do you think you'll go to one?
I'd call it unlikely, just with the busy nature of my schedule. But God, maybe that would be the day to do it. Anyway, I think it's. I think we're
There's
talking about.
There's going to be people now that want you to stay away. They're like, this team is winning because Connor Happer is not involved.
I'll become the Jack Mitchell. Of this year.
People were like, yeah, we don't want you to. Yeah. He was at like a play or something?
He was at the Lead Center watching
when Nebraska beat Purdue.
Watching local thespians act for some reason. And there was this whole movement to keep Jack Mitchell
there's a
away.
rational reason for doing it. He just didn't know that Nebraska was going to beat the number one team in the country.
One of the things that is irrational, I think, at times is people's so what you just said, please stay away from me. I don't want to be the brunt of any online controversy.
Oh, okay? Man.
I don't want to do this anymore. I am scared of you, all right? Because clearly the Nebraska mob can get things done that nobody ever thought was possible. You know, they got a clickbait tweet taken down yesterday that it was amazing. I mean, it was frankly incredible. You just never see that from America's Most Watched Network or any other networks that are watched at all. And so I'm worried. I don't want to get caught up in the middle of any of this. Please do not put anything on the internet about me.
Imagine being Paramount or CBS Sports, whichever one you want to call it, and you're like, hey, I saw that Peacock had made a lot of Nebraska fans mad. Let's go for it.
Yep, time to cancel.
Well, congratulations, Peacock. you got the horn.
I saw there were some people taking the last couple days because it was reported that Peacock had this
to do with this. At first, I thought you were going to say the Seth Davis tweet, which I just saw yesterday.
Oh no, what did Seth Davis say?
He has a thing where he says "be kind."
Oh yeah.
At the end of every day,
every morning,
and someone responded with, "It's kind of hard to when I just watched the worst charge call in the history of basketball," or something like that. And he responded with basically confirming that it was a terrible call.
I'm trying, Seth, but I can't stop thinking about that charge call. They didn't call on Michigan on the go-ahead bucket versus Nebraska, but you have a great day. Prayer hands emoji. And then he responded, "It's good to remember that we could still be kind even in the face of the worst no call of the season. If that wasn't a charge, there is no such thing as a charge." I will say this, not that Seth is doing this, although I have had Seth on radio shows of mine. We very wary just of what you see out there because we are very much in the basketball community is now realizing that they can attract Nebraska fans.
Realize that.
When that person went on CBS Sports and said the things about Nebraska that they said. So we'll dive into all that as we go on throughout the show today. We want to hear from you all. 402-951-1620. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Here's a live sports update. Yannick Sinner, a 2-1 lead over Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open semifinal as they head to the 4th set. And Sinner tries to shut him down. Love it. Everyone's rooting against Djokovic, which is great. And then they're rooting. Well, how do we feel about Sinner Alcaraz part 42 if they get to the finals?
It's one of those things where I have absolutely no opinion on either player because I don't follow it anymore, but I do like that they keep meeting all the time.
Me too.
It's the modern day Federer versus Nadal.
Yeah, but I had strong opinions on that. Here, I just don't have to care. And then if it is on, it's usually going to be outstanding tennis.
You seem like a huge Nadal guy.
I was a huge Nadal guy.
Yeah.
I was too. I enjoyed watching Nadal play.
Nadal was pretty
Vamos Rafa.
Vamos Rafa. I saw a lot of Vamos Rafa on the old timelines back in the day.
It's just wild that Djokovic is still playing. Like, it's just incredible.
I know, and he's still really good.
Yeah.
Still really
I mean,
good.
he's 4th in the world, and you could argue that, I mean, the two guys at 1 and 2 are like the equivalent of what he was going up against most of his career with Nadal and Federer. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, he's outstanding in the history.
Did he have enough time by himself at the top?
When he blew by the other two, there was probably a good stretch where he was unequivocally the best.
It was like a handful of years.
Yeah,
it was enough. Okay,
it was annoying.
His time is now over. That. It's Sinner and Alcaraz time in tennis.
It's approaching 39 in May.
Oh yeah,
Djokovic. I didn't realize he's getting that old.
Yeah, he's on the back.
I'm surprised he's not older, just because he's been around for so long.
He's been there forever.
All right, so it's a great time to be a student at Indiana University. Imagine going to Indiana right now, and you
constantly complaining about your basketball team.
Well, you probably signed up for a great basketball experience. Obviously you want to go to school and do all those things, but like, hey, the basketball team, they're always decent, and they got this new coach, and I like them, and maybe they'll end up being good by the time I leave school. And then all of a sudden you're like, I guess I'll go to the football game, but then they have a weirdo on the sideline who does a bunch of weird things with his eyebrows, and it turns out all he does is win games, 27-2 over 2 years, and won a national championship. It's a great time to be a student at IU, unfortunately. As weird as, I don't know if I have any disdain for Indiana University, but I certainly don't like Indiana University.
I think you would enjoy Bloomington. It's a fun college town.
I probably would.
There's a great bar named Nick's that you can hang out at.
I love a college town.
Yeah, I mean, when I went in 2016, it was very good. Like every other place I've been, significantly better than Evanston.
Better or worse than Madison?
My experience with Madison isn't the same as what I had in Bloomington. Like, I went with friends to Madison. I've just gone for work. Like, I've never actually gone and just like hung out,
partied.
So I can't say to that end of it, but of the places that I have gone where it's just like not having to work, I like it right there. I like West Lafayette a lot. I know
never
that's
been.
A relatively unpopular opinion.
Never got the chance to go to many Big Ten towns.
Take both of the Indiana schools and their college towns over Evanston and Champaign every single time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mostly
because I don't count Chicago as part of the Evanston experience.
We should do like a college towns that we've been to rankings. You obviously have a way more substantial list than I do.
Like so many of it is just like, okay, I was there in College Park, but really I stayed in DC, and BC and I got up and walked the Centennial Mall before Nebraska won 54-13 that day. We spent a little time on campus, but it's it's hard to say.
Huh.
I've been to so many of these places, but probably only a handful of them have I ever I've never hung out in Iowa City. It's always just been go over there. You sometimes stay outside of Iowa City or in Coralville, and then you go into the game.
Let's just your experience. Let's just go off of your experience.
Yeah.
Like, where did you have the most fun? Maybe we could do that.
We could do that.
I haven't been to that many of them, so my list would be funny.
Probably been to, adding in the new ones, 10, 11, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Big 10 ones, for me, it's just pretty much Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure that's it.
I haven't been to Washington. I mean, I've been to Inglewood, but I haven't been for a USC game, so not that. Haven't been to Penn State. Haven't been to Rutgers. Haven't been to Michigan. I think that's everything.
Dang. All right, so you're rolling. Anyway,
I don't know how to feel about those 3 big cities: Seattle, LA.
It's
sounds
hard
like,
to,
it sounds like a fun trip, but not a great
UCLA, like going out for the UCLA game was fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's not like, yeah. And then we spent our time in Pasadena, and not what is it? Where's the actual campus at? I can't think of it.
Westwood.
Yeah, I mean we spent our time around the stadium, which isn't the same as where the campus is at.
Westwood.
So it's hard to sort of square that up, but it was great. Like I loved it. It's why I wanted to do it. And
Yeah,
I'm really glad we did.
Yeah, nobody's looking at UCLA as like, great. I mean, I'm sure they do have a great campus, but it's like, I had such a fun time on their camp. No, you just
go
went to
literally everywhere else.
LA. Yeah, you just went to LA.
I feel like out of the 4 West Coast teams in the Big Ten, Eugene
is awesome.
Obviously the most fun experience out of the 4.
Who knows?
It's more. I feel like it's more of a traditional college town than the other 3 teams.
And you also have Eugene. You can also do all the fun stuff there is to do in Oregon in addition to that, plus hang out in Portland, plus you could stop by Corvallis. That's a great trip if you're looking to go somewhere maybe not going to be the most fun game you've ever been to. We'll see. I mean, when
we'll see. Anthony Calandria.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to write it off just yet, but if you're looking for something fun, I mean, the trip out to Oregon, I know the fans that went in 2017 loved it. I've enjoyed every time I've been out in Oregon. I went in 2017, so
who knows? Maybe we'll find ourselves out there in a few months. But anyway, I say all this to say this about Indiana University. The students got an email from their student government yesterday afternoon.
And their version of ASUN?
With this, yes. Which party did you vote for? Anyway, they got an email from their student government. And there is an impending snowstorm and across the Midwest, or maybe it has happened and they're trying to take extra precaution. But here's what this email said. Dear fellow Hoosiers, I hope this message finds you well. Given the weather conditions affecting Bloomington, I am writing to share updates and ask for your help identifying ways we could best support you across campus. After discussions with the chancellor and the vice chancellor for student life, the university has informed us that facilities has placed or is in the process of placing shovels at all residence halls to assist you in navigating sidewalks, entry points, and your vehicles. These shovels will be available at the center desk of your building. Please return them after you use them. Meaning, you're shoveling your own sidewalk.
Yeah, good luck with the getting the shovels back, by the way.
Would you steal one of the shovels?
I don't know if people will steal it, but it's kind of like the people who take the shopping cart and they don't want to go all the way back to where the return area is because it's like 12 steps.
The whole campus is just covered in shovels.
And so they just leave it in like their array of their parking space.
Well, maybe it's like the scooters where you just take a shovel and then you...
That's what I thought it was going to be.
You take a shovel and you leave it wherever you're done shoveling. And then somebody else picks it up and they shovel the next thing.
Right.
Or they could have a couple people go out and shovel the sidewalks like normal campuses do.
I almost wonder if that is like in addition to, hey, we're going to get to this in the morning, but as it snows throughout the day, we're not always going to be able to. So here's what we have available for you.
Classic Schaefer taking Indiana's side, Indiana student government body side.
It's almost like telling me
as a former member of ASUN, I stand with student government.
It's almost like they're telling me to shovel the snow on my way to UNO campus. And
did they make you do that at UNO?
No. It's almost like kind of like what Indiana's doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're telling you to shovel. Now at Nebraska, they had like carts and people that would just shovel them off. And by the time you'd wake up and go to your first class at 8 or whatever, it'd be done.
I don't remember having to traverse a lot of snow when I lived on campus.
Hardly ever.
And like I had classes at 7 a.m. because of
smart.
No.
Great call by you, Schaefer.
Because I transferred in and I had like the last pick of the litter. And so like these were the things that were available to me.
Now look at you. You
Spanish every day, Monday through Friday at 7:30 in the morning.
That's tough. But look at you now. You do a morning show. So that Spanish
Look
class.
at me now. Little did
prepared
I
you.
know at that time I
called-
would be getting up even earlier.
It's called preparation for life. That's
Yes.
what college does.
That's what the University of Nebraska Journalism School did. It prepared me for life,
Especially Spanish 1.
especially broadcasting, of which I took 0 classes.
Especially the history of rock and roll.
That's true. I
did
love
like
that
that
class. That class rocked.
Yeah. Was a
Literally
fan.
rocked and rolled. So, Indiana, you can't have everything. You could have a national championship in football. You could be in school at the same time as what might go down as one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. You could have a basketball team that is, exciting to watch in some regards, but you cannot have your sidewalks shoveled.
So you were mentioning like that you haven't been to many places. If you were making the list, where are the three places that you haven't been in the Big Ten that would be ranking highly for you?
That's
if I was
going to
pitch you on Indiana, I would also tell you that their student union looks like it's Hogwarts to me.
Okay,
They have one of the coolest student unions I've ever seen anywhere.
That's getting close to the top of the list already. Then
I'm going to pull up an image so you can at least.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a couple places that I don't care about. Ohio State doesn't seem interesting to me. I don't care.
I think that's fair.
I don't care about
Columbus.
Ohio
Is
State.
a massive, like Columbus is over 1 million people.
I know,
It's a big
yeah.
city. Where the stadium sits, it's like there's parts around it that you can go. It just doesn't. It feels like you're going to a professional football game.
It'd probably be like Indiana might be on there. Michigan, I think I would want to go to Michigan. And I guess I've been around Michigan. I haven't been to the actual campus proper. I went to a game at Eastern Michigan once, and
Ypsilanti.
Yeah, Penn State maybe just because of the wackiness seemingly of it. Seems fun. Yeah.
Washington, Penn State, and Rutgers.
Yeah,
would be
I
the three
forget
for
those
me.
stupid West Coast schools are out
Stupid West Coast schools.
This conference is too damn big.
It's big. It's coast to coast.
It
boasts the most.
People forget it. The map is big.
Washington definitely goes on the list.
That stadium looks amazing.
100% goes on the list. Well, you'll have a chance to go next year.
Yeah. No, I've already been like, hey, Shelby, do you want to plan on going to Seattle?
Seattle is one of the towns that always comes up when we're talking about, hey, what's the next city we go to? I've never been to San Diego. I've never been to Seattle.
Same.
I want to go to both of them.
Those two
San
in
Diego's
Philadelphia
pretty.
are like the 3 biggest cities I've never been to.
San Diego's good, Joey. You're in on San Diego.
It's
People
pretty.
that have been love San Diego.
Did you eat tacos and burritos?
No, I did not, but I stayed over at La Jolla. It's a beautiful area.
Oh, out on the island. Nice.
Not on the island, along the coast.
Oh, on the coast. Which one's the island? Oh, Catalina.
Yeah.
Catalina wine mixer.
Is that off of San Diego?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
There's
I
an
don't know
island off of that you have to take.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if that was Catalina for San Diego, though. I don't know anything about San Diego other than, what is it, the gas lamp district?
Talking out of my butt. I don't know what's going on.
There's an island. You're definitely correct. There's an island.
There's an island.
But I didn't think it was Catalina.
Coronado, Travis says.
It could be Coronado.
You're talking about Coronado. All right, we're very smart geography-wise on this show. Let's take a break. We'll come back 7 o'clock hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. A couple responses to the last segment. First, from Kevin on the Equitable Bank inbox. You guys need to take geography classes. Your knowledge of the West Coast is shockingly poor. Catalina Island is visible from Los Angeles and Orange County beach cities, not San Diego County. That one's on me. Seattle is awesome. The Big Ten is lucky to have the 4 former Pac-12 schools. Kevin in Lincoln.
I don't need to take geography.
I like geography. California is just a weak spot for me.
Yeah, I don't know that I would consider not knowing the name of the island off of San Diego, or not even island, whatever it would be called.
Yeah.
Catalina, I was pretty sure was not accurate, only because of Step Brothers being set in LA. That was my whole
could have fooled me.
Pushback.
I don't know.
I was once pretty good at geography in school. I was the Aaron Rodgers of geography. I was good in the regular season until the finals happened, and I choked.
No. I was like, were you a geography bee champion, Joey?
No, I was in the finals, but I choked.
Oh,
I was relevant, but not enough to win the finals.
What got you? What tripped you up? You don't remember?
Not too sure, because this was a long time ago. Huh. This was back in elementary and middle school, and then I was like, screw it. I don't want to suffer any more of this.
Yeah, admittedly, California is just a weak spot for me. So I shouldn't have done that. But maybe we'll learn more now that this conference is so gigantic and these teams are in it, and we get the chance to go to those places a little bit more. Also, we get a tweet from Andrew, who tweets at Happer and Schaefer, by the way. Seattle is fun. The Pop Museum is a must to stop at. What is that? What is the Pop Museum?
Is it about pop music? Is it about
pop culture? Yeah.
Okay.
Pop culture. I was thinking soda pop.
Soda pop music, and then pop is in the drink, because I don't refer to it
Coca-Cola
as
is in Atlanta.
Yep.
That's
Been
true.
there. And I had never considered pop culture. That's where Matt McMaster needs to go. He wouldn't even have to pretend to watch the movies anymore. He could just go to the museum.
That is a great point.
Learn all of its exhibits and take all that knowledge back with him.
Wow, look at this. There's a lot of stuff going on at the
I
Pop
bet
Museum.
it's cool.
Okay, Seattle. How about the gum wall? Would you like to check out the gum wall?
Yes.
You want to put some gum on there?
Not really.
Seems kind of gross to me.
Seems very gross. But I would still want to go check it out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Welcome back. 7:00 hour. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com. A couple things I want to get to here. And once again, Jeremy Warner is going to join us at 8:30. And our dear friend, young Jake Sorensen, is going to join us at 9:15.
There's doubt on the StreamYard that you're going to learn more about California geography.
What do you mean? What if I go to California? I already know more than I did probably about 6 months ago, because I recently went to California for the first time. As you know, how about this for some knowledge? California, it's big. And sometimes you don't get to see all of it, especially in one trip.
Look, you certainly nailed a lot about California in those sentences.
I know about things.
And often you can't see all of it in just one trip.
The plane flew into SFO, and then we went on the Bay Bridge, not the Golden Gate Bridge, and we went through Oakland and went by like Berkeley and a variety of different other things up to Napa.
Okay.
So I know that. I know about that stuff.
Yeah, look, I'm not taking it away.
I saw it all coming in on the plane.
Try taking Interstate 5 going from north to south or south to north. It's like 700 some miles.
Nope. I'd rather take the plane from Omaha to there.
That's how big it is.
I want the plane.
I'll take the plane.
Give me the plane.
So maybe I will have some faith, Travis.
Look, Nebraska fans could end up in San Diego if it is one of the spots, like
the Holiday Bowl.
No. It's one of the spots of the NCAA tournament.
I don't think the Big Ten goes to the Holiday Bowl anymore.
Do you want to go somewhere warm for a NCAA tournament game?
Most people would answer yes to that.
Probably.
I mean,
but it's not a basketball town.
So for me, San Diego and Oklahoma City are like the top two. One of those two, I'd be pretty fired up about it. San Diego, because I've never been, this would be a good reason to go. Oklahoma City, because it'd be the most convenient, and I think Nebraska would take over that entire area.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Do you
It'd be
know all
great.
the sites? Have you looked into this?
Yeah, but I forget them every time I look at them.
Like, I don't want to go to Buffalo. I want to go to Buffalo, but I don't want to go to Buffalo in March for the NCAA tournament. I don't want to go to Greenville. So I could tell you them all. You don't even have to look it up.
Really? Okay, go ahead. I
Yeah.
got them all right now.
All right. So Buffalo,
1.
Greenville.
Yep.
Then we are going to Oklahoma City.
3.
And then we're going to go to Philadelphia.
4.
And then we're going to go to Portland.
5.
And then we're going to go to St. Louis.
6.
And then we're going to go to Tampa.
7.
And we have San Diego that I had already mentioned.
Very good.
I
want to go to
do a
VA.
bit on another thing where I've been rating all of these places.
I don't want to go to Viejas Arena. I would have to see the San Diego State logo and I would cringe.
Yeah, that's a triggering thing for you.
It is. It's a triggering thing for many.
We should get you and Rob Arch to talk about just his San Diego State experience. And
Well, he probably wasn't. I don't think he was there yet.
no, he wouldn't have been there. He would not have been.
He was chilling in Idaho.
Yep.
He
was
didn't have an
still in Idaho.
opinion on the Ryan Nemhard foul.
Were they talking about it on campus? Did they know they got away with it?
Do
they know?
People forget they later went on to go to the national championship game and lose that, but they probably weren't thinking about that much anyway. All right, yeah, San Diego would be a great place to be. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like an NCAA tournament town to me. That's a weird complaint, but it just doesn't. For some reason.
No,
I know they've hosted there before.
I get it. I totally get that. Again, I don't really want to be in Philadelphia in March for that, or so it doesn't feel like the greatest set of options to me this year. But that's why Oklahoma City vaults up there. I begrudgingly accept St. Louis because of the geographical nature of it, but I think you feel this. I mean, I genuinely don't want to be in St. Louis unless I have to be.
If only this was 2 years ago and it could have been Omaha.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have wanted that either.
Oh, you want to take it on the road?
Yeah, there's something about it like having to happen elsewhere that I think
I agree with that.
A little bit more.
I agree.
Part of it is when this happens, and it will happen, because Nebraska, and I'm not saying this sardonically, will definitely win in March.
They'll definitely win an NCAA tournament game.
See,
they will.
I
believe
a tone
that.
difference in how we say it.
They'll definitely win an NCAA tournament.
Very big difference in how we say it. When this happens, that place is going to be remembered, and it's going to be cool. And so you'd rather have it be something like, I don't know. That's why I don't want it to be Greenville or whatever.
All right. Yeah, I think that's sound reasoning.
I don't know that other people
that
think
place,
like
wherever it happens.
And that's why Oklahoma City feels like it, because there's Nebraska history there, because of the Big 12 baseball tournament, because of Bricktown.
Okay.
Though Mitch Sherman says that Bricktown is dead, the version of it that he remembered from the Big 12
tournament. He did say that.
Yeah. And I've been there several times in recent years. Still fun. I think Nebraska fans will find their way into a good time at Bricktown.
There's no doubt. And really any of these places.
Yeah, no doubt.
Have you thought of have you considered ranking your favorite regional sites yet?
So there's obviously 4 of those, and the ranking of that would more or less, and I don't even like Chicago, but Chicago would be first. And then I'd probably go DC, Houston, San Jose.
You know them all. That's incredible. That's
well, look, there's an entire bit that goes along with this.
Oh, is this your podcast?
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to listen to your podcast.
No, you don't. You don't have to.
People are mad about your takes on St. Louis.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we get a couple correspondents.
Just some of the worst traffic in America.
Yeah. Hey,
the inhabitants of which hate their own city.
I don't like the Cardinals at all, and I don't think much about the city, but I have a special place in my heart for Arch Madness.
Yeah.
So, I
hear about this from the Creighton honks.
I'm not out on St. Louis completely. So Debo says, hey, hold on, let's ease off the St. Louis slander here. Nick writes in on Twitter, St. Louis is better than Oklahoma City, much better food, lots of new stuff by the venue. And then someone else was mad at you for
that's fair. I'll take it
for slandering St. Louis as well. Oh, Nick from St. Louis.
Yeah. Look, they can.
You
they
act
can have
like
St.
it's
Louis.
What's wrong with St. Louis? You act like it's a madhouse. You don't like the Arch?
The Arch is fine.
Have you ever been up there?
No, I haven't. I have not gone up.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild. I went up there.
And you don't like heights.
I'm that's freaked about heights.
I was going to say, that's a big step for you.
And I went up there, I looked straight down. I'm like, what am I doing? You're taking that little pod car up to the top, and you're like, oh my God.
What am I doing?
This is terrible. But it was great. It provided great views. So maybe St. Louis isn't so bad. You can go to Joe Buck's
There's
barbecue.
a neighborhood. I can't remember the name of it. It's got like a French name. It's south of downtown. It's south of the ballpark. I spent my time there. That was great. Some dive bars. That was the highlight of St. Louis for me when I've gone a few different times.
You could take a direct flight there on Southwest Airlines.
I could. I would probably just drive.
You could drive a 6-hour drive.
I would probably make the 6-hour drive.
All right. Are we going to talk about Red Zone in this segment, or should we probably just take a break and separate
I think I
it?
killed the segment.
I love your takes on cities, though.
Yeah, well,
we should have City of the Day on Happer and Schaefer.
That's Nebraska Ball Tuesdays. That's why I know all of these.
We say what it doesn't have to be NCAA tournament host sites.
We remember we used to do
Anytown.
this.
We did?
Yeah. So back in the recruiting hour, Nebraska would get a commitment, and then we would like do a deep dive into the city of which they lived in.
Okay.
And we would go into the Wikipedia. It was great because you would get random towns in Texas or all over. We'd find the famous people that live there.
Do you think
it's a good time with this.
Do you think it's a good enough bit to do it every day, or is it like a once a week thing?
I think once a week, and we throw
Place
it
it
at
on
the
a
end
day.
of the show.
Yeah.
Is how we did it. So.
City of the Day.
People should apply.
Yeah,
If they
send
wanna
in
be-
your cities.
If they want to be City of the Day on Happer and Schaefer, they
Yeah.
need to give their case.
This guy's like, you
And-
should do
Yeah.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
We look through it and we determine, okay, did they make a compelling argument and they get to be City of the Day, and then we talk about it.
All right, please submit your cities for next week's first edition of City of the Day. I think actually maybe today was the first edition, and we did St. Louis, and Schaefer angered people.
Yelled about it.
Theo writes in City of the Day bit, fire emoji. Theo loves radio bits, which we love Theo for. All right, now we can talk about Nebraska's ongoing red zone struggles in football. How may they answer those questions? And how important will our new quarterback, Mr. Tony, be in that conversation? Coming up next on 1620 The Zone. several contests online for tickets to concerts, including Journey on April 9th, George Thorogood and the Destroyers with Marshall Tucker Band, May 17th at the Astro, and Chris Stapleton featuring Nikki Lane on October 7th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. If you would like to go to any of those concerts, why not take your chance to win? 1620thezone.com. All right. So yesterday we had the topic of discussion, what might make you feel better from now, or where are some ways where Nebraska can improve in a substantial way that could make you feel a little bit better about the upcoming schedule and the season and the state of the program and all those different things. So we both concluded that if there were to be a big jump from one side of the ball or the other, it is more likely to be defense. And so I think that leads to a longer conversation about the offense for Nebraska next year, the issues with it inside of it, whether it was personnel or coaching or scheme and all these different things, and what sort of went wrong there. And one of the things that stands out glaringly and immediately is the fact that Nebraska, was generally able to put decent drives together and not score. And that's been a consistent theme over the last 3 years. Now, that was not just a last year thing, but last year, obviously, it hit a different point.
Yeah, they have been, even 2023 to a smaller degree, where they were one of the absolute worst red zone teams in the country. They have been able to drive the football well enough. The problem is they get inside the other team's 40, and I forget what the actual term people use to describe
the green zone.
Yeah. And that's when things tend to have just kind of fall apart for Nebraska when and if they do. And then so I wanted to look into this a little bit just because anecdotally it felt like Nebraska had really struggled in the red zone. And they were a little better than I actually anticipated in some regards. And as we get into this, a lot worse in some others.
Yeah, let me pull up. You have some stats here, and I have my drive chart that I put together as well. So I have it last year for Nebraska as 56 drives out of their let's see, 117. 40, just a little less than 48% of their drives ended in actual points. And so that number that you just mentioned, the yard line, 40, the 40-yard line, Nebraska had just about 23% of their total drives this year reached the 40 and did not score.
Yeah.
Which is sort of absurd.
Yeah, they had one drive every single game, I believe. I can't remember the bowl game if it happened this way, but in every other game in the regular season, they had at least one drive get inside opponent's territory in which they did not put up points.
Nuts.
They either missed a field goal, but more often than not would go for it on fourth down and didn't get it. They had multiple cases of not getting it on fourth down inside the opponent's territory in some games, but in every game, Cincinnati, you had the near interception to start things off. They got stopped at the goal line by Akron or Houston Christian.
I think
or
it was
both.
Yeah, I think it was Houston Christian, I want to say.
Yeah, and then Akron, there was a stop inside of there or a fumble. It was an Emmett Johnson fumble. So Houston Christian, you had the stop. Michigan, you had the stop right at the beginning of the game.
In those first three games, even though they were 3-0, I mean, there were some debacles like inside the 10-yard line.
Michigan State, you had multiple drives that ended inside the opponent's 40. Maryland, you had turnovers, plus you had, I think, one that was a turnover on downs. Minnesota, you might not have actually. Well, that's one where you barely did anything.
You got sacked.
That's kind of the one outlier game that sort of blows everything else up.
So you mentioned, oftentimes when we think about this stuff, it's like, okay,
USC, you had several.
Okay, what's the personnel? What's the, what does all this stuff look like? And is there a chance to get a lot better at it, just in a big picture standpoint? But you said something and it sort of, jogged my head. They love going for it on fourth down. And that's
When
another.
we had that Ben Johnson conversation a couple of weeks ago, part of that in my mind was like, okay, some of this is like, hey, is Matt Rule, who talks all the time about this game is going to be tight and close, and then passes up on points, and you did it against Michigan, and you did it against Penn State, and you did it against Iowa.
And there's some cases where it's like, okay, we're at the 42 here, and it's 4th and 1, like, let's take a shot. Sure.
Get it.
But if you're at the 19, like, maybe we just take the 3 in that situation. So that's another piece of this too. I mean, I could tell you right now how many turnovers on downs probably they had this year. It was probably an absurd amount. 14 turnover on downs drives this year.
It's average about 1 a game.
Percent of, let's see, what did I do here? So here, the percentage of the drives that ended in either a punt or a turnover on downs was almost 40% of their total drives. 14 of them were turnover on downs, and then another 32 were punts.
Yeah. And so then, if you get into that conversation about, okay, they need to start taking the points, here's the pushback on that. Very few teams in the country kicked more field goals than Nebraska and scored less touchdowns than Nebraska. So, like, inside the red zone. I mean, Nebraska in the red zone kicked a lot of field goals. They were tied for 16th in the country for field goals made inside the red zone. But then if you look inside that number, only 5 of those teams in front of them scored less overall touchdowns. So other teams just scored a lot more points and then also ended up with field goals. So they have a higher percentage of their red zone scoring coming out of field goals than most teams in the country. And so then it's like maybe some of them going for it is that they kind of like needed to stop kicking field goals on top of it too. All in all,
too many field goals.
It paints a picture where Nebraska, when the field got small and its offensive line, which we already know was an issue last year, was not able to win enough at the line of scrimmage. And then you mentioned his name earlier,
Tony.
How big do things change with Tony Calandria's ability to at least be mobile?
I don't know, man.
He's not a big guy, so it's part of it to me is like you're not.
That's what I'm worried about. It's not like you're just running them.
You're not getting Adrian Martinez down there,
right? And so, and then there's also like in the bigger scale the turnover stuff, which is all really concerning.
They were pretty good in the red zone. I don't think they turned the ball over a lot. They had 1 fumble from Emmett Johnson.
Yeah,
and I don't know that and this is a whole other conversation. I'm pretty sure Raiola never threw an interception in the red zone.
I think the idea is, that is a different conversation. I think the idea is to generally be more explosive on offense, have the ability to create more big plays, while also at the same time not leaning on your explosiveness. You don't want to just say, well, we are an explosive offense and the only way we could score is score from the 45-yard line on big, long touchdown plays, right? So that's the situation that you're trying to create. And it was just so hard for Nebraska to get explosive plays last year, especially in the pass game.
They were just bad in so many ways offensively last year.
It really, the stats don't really show how bad they were.
Here's how damning it gets. You take out, so there's obviously 13 games that Nebraska played last year. They went 7-6. If you take out every non-conference game, so 4, so only basically a third of those games, more or less, Nebraska's touchdown percentage in conference play is abysmal. Like absolutely.
Like touchdowns per drive?
No, touchdowns percentage in the red zone in conference play. Because they had to kick so many field goals in there because they couldn't finish with touchdowns. They were number 116 in the country in conference play only for touchdown percentage in terms of how often they would get into the red zone and then finish with 6 points. That is horrible.
Right.
And again, they only had 15 touchdowns in conference play, which you played 9 games. So you weren't even averaging 2 touchdowns a game in conference play in the red zone. You were barely averaging, they averaged 22 points. And so much of that comes from, early in the season against Michigan State, Michigan, and Maryland. And then it just falls off a cliff.
Does Calandria and his ability to run, because he's a runner. That is a part of his game. Obviously he's a passer as well, but like that, it's not just like he's mobile and he can create exclusively when stuff breaks down outside the pocket. No, like he's running sometimes.
He had 10 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, they'll run him 8 or 10 times a game. And
I think it'll be less than that. It'll
Okay.
be more like
6 or 8.
Yeah, 5 to 7 times a game.
Okay, whatever
a
it
more
is.
judicious. But yeah, I get where you're going.
They'll run him. Is that enough when you think about the general picture of the offense, especially in the red zone like this, to make up for the fact that Emmett Johnson isn't there anymore? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. The math doesn't quite math to me. Just what they put together in the offseason. And I don't know what the sell is going to be on, like, because you have a quarterback who is sort of a wild card. You have an offense that lacks direction. And I just feel like
a coordinator that may not have his fastball anymore.
You might look at it and say, oh, well, that's kind of exactly what he needs, a spark. And I don't disagree with you that Nebraska needs a spark on the offensive side of the ball. However, you understand when you put those things together, it feels to me like a highly combustible situation.
Yeah.
Not from a personality standpoint or anything like that, but just from like, oh, man, if it's not good, then it could really be not good.
And people that would take the optimistic point of view, or Matt Rule himself would tell you, this is why we went out and got Jeep Wade. This is why we added those 3 offensive linemen in the portal. We are going to revamp what we're doing up front, so it doesn't matter who the running back
Having
is.
a good offensive line does not fix all your problems.
No, I agree. Like, look, going and getting someone that can provide a power component to Mekhi Nelson or to Isaiah Mosey made a lot more sense to me than a lot of things that they chose to do. But they chose to completely eschew the running back position because they feel good about what they have there. See, that's the sardonic tone that I use when I say that.
They're definitely
very similar to, yeah.
They definitely
They
like
feel
what they
good
have.
about what they have there. So, it's that in itself is a super fair question. It really comes down to how Dana calls these things. I mean, I didn't have time to dive into, and maybe your drive sheets would have this. I want to know the percentage of times Nebraska threw the ball inside the 20-yard line and what the success rate.
Yeah, I don't have that.
There's a lot of just like uncontested because the ball was thrown effectively out of bounds. Like nobody had a chance at it.
Yeah.
And they had several touchdowns that were nice. Like I'll never forget one of the first touchdowns of the year was that Dane Key 4th down slant pass that was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Great play. Never saw it again. Or a version of that never happened again.
Back-to-back plays, the RPO, yeah.
Just never happened again in the red zone. There was do you remember when Dylan pulled it on an RPO and then scrambled to his left and threw it 1,000 miles per hour at Luke Lindemeyer's knees, and he caught it and he ran for another 13 yards? That was in the red zone. Never saw that one again.
Yeah.
It's just like little stuff like that. Somehow we're more creative at the beginning of the year, and some of that is a Big Ten.
Okay. So I'll counter with this if you're taking trying to take a rosy outlook. What you're
I am not.
If I was. What you're describing is an offense that was, in essence, scared. Is that a fair description of last year's offense and the quarterback play and a variety?
Yes and no, but I would think if you were scared, you wouldn't be throwing it as much as you do.
Yeah,
I think it's wildly inconsistent for what it wants to be. Like you never.
I felt like it was maybe scared is too strong. At the very least, hesitant, right? Unsure of itself, especially in an area of the field where you really have to be sure of yourself.
Yeah.
You really got to know what you're doing. So what Colandrea, in theory, brings to the table is the spark. There's a confidence about him. He's certainly not scared to throw interceptions. He's thrown a lot of them in his career, and he's certainly not scared to turn the ball over. And I'm not saying it works out 100% of the time, but I often felt like when Nebraska got into that point in the field, everything would just tighten up.
Yeah.
And that's the case. That's what happens with everybody. But it just kind of tightens up a little bit. And maybe that won't be the case with the new quarterback who, from everything that you hear about him, that's just not how he operates.
Right.
He's a confident guy.
Some of the stuff that, again, if you're like, okay, why would this work better with Colandrea than what it did last year? Some of it is if you just want to run, bootlegs, if you want to run play action and roll him out, if you want to just put him on the move, he doesn't have to be a 500-yard rushing quarterback to be super effective in these situations.
Yep.
He needs to effectively get you 4 or 5 yards in traffic. The other thing that I would love to see Nebraska figure out is how to get your tight ends more involved in the red zone. How is it that
Every year,
I don't even know,
tight ends.
like, did Luke Lindenmeyer have 5 pass attempts to him in the end zone this year?
I don't know. I feel like he was never
right. I think he had 2 touchdowns, but I don't recall them being like, I'm guessing he caught them and ran them in type situations, not him standing in the end zone when he caught them.
How many catches do you think Luke Lindenmeyer had this year?
18.
He had 29.
Okay.
He had 29.
Shot low.
Which would have been a little more than I thought. Anecdotally more than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 1.5 a game is sort of where I was at because he kind of started hot and then it really quieted down.
He had 7 in the Michigan game.
Yep.
And then after that, it was 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 0, 0, 2, 1.
Yep. So he had 7 catches in the 3 games after.
In the first 4 games, he had 16 of his 29 catches.
Yeah.
So you're right about that.
So, I'd like to see the tight end more involved. We saw it in the 2-point conversion. Quinn Clark, athletic body, 6'5", can go up and get it in a jump ball. Like, if you're going to do that, I'd like to see him involved in that more. Carter Nelson, same thing. Like, these are guys in the red zone that you take advantage of that kind of size. Isaiah Hunter showed that he has the ability to do it. Ja'Cory Barney, if you remember in the UCLA game, had a terrific catch on like a 2-yard pass from TJ Lateef.
Yeah.
Like, they have guys that can make plays. They need the quarterback to give them the chance, which is one of the complaints about Dylan Raiola. He generally didn't. Either no one was going to catch it or his guy was going to catch it. And more often than not, no one did. And so then you've got these guys, like, if you're going to pass in that area,
you got to throw it into tight windows.
And
I think you can't be afraid.
Let your playmakers make plays.
Yeah, but you can't be afraid to do that. Like, you're going to have to force some in. And if you throw a pick or two, then you're going to have to live with that. And I do think that is the book on Calandria.
I do also think we won't see a tight end lineup at quarterback for an awful tush push again.
Praise. Thank you. Nothing against Heinrich, but
no,
dear
it
God,
wasn't.
Dear God.
It's not how you should use Heinrich.
No, it's not.
You put him if you want to do that, just give him like the running start from behind.
I was pro Wild Heine at the start of the year.
Yeah, Wild Heine.
When all the Tiffy conversations were happening, I was like, I could, I don't know about this TJ Lateef thing, but I could work myself into a little bit more Heine Harburg here. And then they just did it wrong every time. / it didn't work. Nick from St. Louis writes in, he has recovered from the St. Louis hate, by the way.
Sorry, Nick.
How many years have we been talking about the tight ends being more involved? It seems like forever. I laughed when you said that because I thought this feels like an off-season conversation.
But I mean, if we want to go back to like, why is Nebraska not good in the current age of college football? It's because a position that everyone else has figured out how to use, Nebraska hasn't.
I just don't think about that stuff because they're doing stuff fundamentally wrong. And I'm like, and I just feel like the last of my worries is like, they need to get the tight end more involved. But if they did, it would be a more coherent offense.
But,
point.
like, okay, think about it this way. Nebraska has produced, if you think about Nebraska producing talent, the position it has produced the most in state is a tight end.
It has.
And so then you go down to Lincoln and you don't do anything in your career. It seems like a waste. Like Thomas Fedoni got drafted and people feel like Nebraska couldn't utilize him at all. Things like that. And it's not just get him the ball for the sake of getting him the ball. It's look around throughout football and realize that when the field gets small, teams get the ball to their tight end a lot. The Los Angeles Rams ran a ton of 13 personnel, and that team had Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams on it. But they still, with one of the brightest offensive minds in football, and Sean McVay, found a way to get tight ends involved all the time.
Yeah, but you got to have you got to have a quarterback who wants to do that. And I'm not saying he didn't want to get tight ends specifically involved. I'm just saying it just seemed to me like he didn't want to throw. Like he did not want to make a mistake in the red zone, which he didn't.
Yeah.
But you can't have a risk averse quarterback. And if there's one thing that I go back to that I like automatically about Calandria, all the other stuff, like the turnovers are bad and whatever, and like the quality of competition over the last year, not good. His time at Virginia, not good. Like all that stuff, whatever. He's not afraid. It doesn't seem like. And I think honestly, that is a step. You have to have pieces around him so it doesn't all collapse in on itself. But like, if there's a guy open, whether it's in the red zone or not, he's going to try and throw it. And even if he's not open, he's going to try and throw it.
The question
which I think this offense could use more of
is: does Nebraska try to take that out of him?
I hope not.
Because I don't know that I would.
You can't.
I wouldn't.
Why would you get him?
TJ Leaf is super cautious, and yet, what version of him did we see when he was the starting quarterback?
That's
a very scaled down.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
I don't know why you.
I don't think Dylan. I think is his own subset of. There's a million things there, and frankly, we don't need to get into it. But I do wonder if some of it with Dana and with Rule, when TJ Lateef went in, is that they took that out of him.
I don't know why you'd take him if you were just trying to make him.
Because you didn't get Kenny Minchie?
But like, they could have done any of the other two quarterbacks that were on campus that if you wanted to turn a quarterback into just a non-thrower and just get Lagway and make him run,
I think the problem is Lagway has his own turnover issues.
But what I'm saying is I get what they come in different ways.
Go get a game manager,
right?
Kind of guy.
Yeah,
I get that. And
turn him into Mark Gronowski from last year. You're not going to turn Calandria into Mark Gronowski. He's 175 pounds.
Yeah, and Mark Gronowski was significantly just better.
Right. Right.
Not to take any shots at Tony here, but Gronowski's entire career shows that he was just better.
But you understand what I'm saying?
No, I do. I 100% do.
I hope that
I'm just saying I don't have any reason to think that part of the calculus of Nebraska's conservative nature was a combination of Matt Rule, who genuinely does not have high-flying good offenses ever, and then Holgorsen, who has scaled his entire thing down.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
To a degree that doesn't make any sense to me. Now, maybe he ramps it back up that he doesn't have Dylan Raiola anymore. We didn't see that with TJ Lateef. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I really don't.
I don't either.
But when we discuss, like, hey, what can happen for this team to be better, it's not easy, but one of the obvious things is they have to be better in the red zone at getting touchdowns.
First question, spring ball opens up in a couple weeks. Hey, Dana, what are you guys... what is your offense? What is it? I mean, seriously, what is it?
Because the first time he's here, he's not interested in doing the Texas stuff, and he cares more about, points per play, and he says all this stuff that sounds good, and then his offense sucked.
Yep.
Like, full stop. And I get that people want to say, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. No, he's in charge of all of it. He ran the boringest subset of plays you'll ever see. The bowl game could not have been more of a stark juxtaposition of what college football offense looks like with what Utah is doing. This super creative, all these formations, getting the tight ends involved, power running game with your quarterback. And then you have Nebraska and what they were doing. My concern, as I have voiced many times now, is I don't know that Dana Holgorsen is fit for college football in 2026. We haven't seen anything out of his offense aside from one day against Wisconsin in conference play where it's like, oh, Dana's in his bag. Every other time, it's been this weird, like, heavy reliance on horizontal passing.
Here's where I'm at.
They can't get guys open. There's no big plays.
I think with his track record historically, which might not be the truth now, but with his track record, and then without Dylan Raiola, I am willing to see.
I have no other options.
I guess we have no other options. Yes.
That being said, I mean, I'm very curious what this all looks like.
Right. By the way, Tyler writes in on YouTube. He says Calandria is supposedly 205 pounds. I was sort of being facetious. He's a smaller guy though. He's not Gronowski.
He's not 245 pounds.
He's not a battering ram. He's not second, third, and fourth year Adrian Martinez, who was giant.
This is probably good for all parties involved that
Yeah.
he's not that.
Yeah.
They press that button a little too much. You want to talk about a team
Now
that was
that could happen.
scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott Frost ran his red zone scared.
That's
They
why he put in a
never
running back
threw
at
it.
quarterback.
Yeah,
Or he
never
turned his
threw it.
quarterback into a running back.
And then just ruined his career.
Correct. Indeed.
Not ruined. I mean, he's in the NFL. It turned out fine for Adrian, but it could have been a lot better at Nebraska.
Could have been different, that's for sure. All right, your thoughts on that, we'll take them. 402-951-1620. Let's step out of the way. It's Joey time. Time for the headlines. Coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, it is 2 sets apiece for Djokovic and Sinner. 2-1 Sinner in the 5th set. Who knows? And it's we're nearing 1 o'clock or past 1 o'clock, Joey. Do your Australia time math again.
Yeah.
It's almost 1 a.m. over there.
Almost 1 a.m.
We're 17 hours behind.
I can tell by
it's
some
tomorrow.
of the crowd shots that I see. People are getting very sleepy in Melbourne right now.
So they've been on the court for 3 hours and 28 minutes.
Yep. And just about 5 hours ago, there were Jacob Padilla tweets about the last semifinal with Alcaraz.
So he didn't feel like he needed to stay up for this as Djokovic double faults and opens himself up for a critical break.
Well, if he's lucky, he
set.
could wake up and the end of this thing will just
That
be
is
finishing
true.
up. Yeah. It's very
I don't know.
possible.
Do you think he wakes up in the 7 a.m. hour?
No, I do not. I think I think when we get him at 9:15 on
He
Tuesdays,
didn't sound groggy at all.
we're lucky to get him. We're lucky.
Was.
He makes special arrangements for us.
Is he a sleep till noon person?
Yeah, I mean, not noon probably, but I mean, he goes to bed at like 3 most of the time, so it's a different deal. It's a different deal, especially for us morning show people. All right. Speaking of the morning show, here is a bit on the morning show. Joey's headlines. Schaefer, will you click on the links today? I know there is some previous excitement about Joey's
Joey
headlines.
really built these up.
Yeah, there's some interesting things happening in the country. I would say it's happening in the U.S.
Never
But-
an untrue statement, Joey.
But the first headline is, of course, Florida man arrested for exposing himself in public and fornicating with a vacuum.
Fornicating with a vacuum.
I mean, essentially just Dewey from Scary Movie, from what I understand here.
Dude, I saw Scary Movie, like all the Scary Movies at the time when they came out, and I remember nothing about them.
Really?
Yes. Almost nothing about them.
Okay.
It was just like a moment in time that just passed right over my head. I was a kid,
Yeah, I mean, they were what they were. Eventually, there became too many parody movies, and most of them, outside of like Not Another Teen Movie, weren't funny.
So there was some vacuum. Okay.
Some vacuum humor.
Gotcha.
in Scary Movie.
Very cool. All right.
The second one is suburban Chicago man asked neighbor to hang out, was turned down, so he returned with a machete.
Machete.
I mean, in honor of McMaster, I'm probably a little bit more interested in this, but I don't know that it goes much more than he showed up with a machete and then the cops were called. Like, is there more than that?
Well, that's what Joey, don't tell him anything else.
Yeah, that's true. I'll risk it that there's more here.
Okay. Give me the machete.
Alrighty, so this happened in Cook County, Illinois. A 23-year-old suburban man is facing felony charges after he allegedly returned to his neighbor's apartment.
Wait a minute. 23-year-old suburban Chicago man?
Yes, that's what it says.
Interesting.
So after he
This is probably why Matt's dad always asks who these people are, because he just wants to know if there's going to be a machete involved.
Interesting.
So he's facing felony charges after he allegedly returned to his neighbor's apartment with a machete and entered the home after being told they did not want to hang out. The incident happened around midnight of Saturday in 4000 block of Bon Hill Drive in unincorporated Palatine Township.
Okay.
According to the Cook County Sheriff's Office, Kevin Patron Ladino had earlier knocked on his neighbor's door and asked to hang out. 4 people inside declined and offered to meet up another time. So he then returned with the machete, stabbed the door, and entered the apartment. The people inside were able to get away and no injuries were reported.
Dude really wanted to hang out.
So responding deputies found Patron Ladino holding machete and took him into custody. He was charged Sunday with felony home invasion and multiple misdemeanors counts of assault.
Well, I'm just glad nobody got macheted.
Yeah.
Except for the door in this case.
So he will appear in court on Tuesday and was ordered to remain in custody at the Cook County Jail.
There you go. That makes sense.
The apartment complex is so annoyed they have to get another door.
It'll probably take them 3 weeks to fix it.
Yeah.
Depends on the response time for
Just put
maintenance.
like cardboard over the stab part.
For now, I think that might be the only option.
Yeah.
At this point. Hey, the guy just really wanted to hang out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it wasn't explained were they like having a party in there? Were they just
No, he just randomly wanted to hang out with them.
No, maybe it was a pizza party that he didn't get invited to. Maybe
did they know him?
Maybe they axed him out of the group chat and he said, I'm going to
Wow.
axe you out with my machete.
You never want to be kicked out of the group chat.
That's true. Well, unless you're me, then
Well,
you do want to get kicked out of the
You're
group chat.
begging to get kicked out, and people are like, we're going to add Connor to more chats.
That's what they do. People annoy me and add me to more group chats.
I find group chats so pointless. I'm not a huge fan because it just keeps blowing up my phone. It's unwanted text messaging, and most of the times it's not important.
Joey gets it. It doesn't apply to me. Yeah. Oh, the first ever
Joey Ray-gonged himself.
Yeah, I like a 3-person group chat.
Okay.
Keep me in the 3-person group chat. Anything more,
our chat is good.
It serves a purpose.
It has a purpose.
Chat.
It's a work
as long
chat.
as it has a purpose, and it's fine. But if it's just random banter, I don't want to be a part of.
So if
Thankfully,
Grim throws you into a chat about F1, you're not going to be thrilled about this.
I'm not going to be thrilled. I'm uninterested.
Joey, were you around when they wanted us all to do Slack? They were like, we have to do a Slack.
No, but I remember in college we would have the GroupMe app and we would just constantly message about things.
The bosses were like, you guys have to do a Slack channel, and we were like, okay, and then predictably nobody ever did the Slack channel, and
I'm a big fan of Slack.
I was annoyed by it, and the whole thing, and then it kind of just went away.
The channel annoyed you?
Yeah, like what am I supposed to check to see what people are saying in the Slack?
And you could.
That would be ridiculous. And I certainly don't want to get notifications about it. Just text me. Just call me if you
That's
need
what
me.
they try to do, but if they have more than 2 people on the text, you'll get upset about that too.
That's true. It's a very thin line.
It's a fine line. It's like
you
want a carrier pigeon sent to you.
Thank goodness for Do Not Disturb, because that is a valuable tool.
Yeah, I turned that off. I turn that on every single one of them, basically. All right. Thank you, Joey. Those are the headlines. Let's push that to one more segment, Joey. We'll come back and get into the 8:00 hour, halfway home. Jeremy Werner is going to join us at 8:30 to talk Illinois basketball. Plenty to come on 1620 The Zone. All right, we have still live tennis with Novak Djokovic and Yannick Sinner. Oh, look, it's Djokovic with his palms up in the air, wondering what happened. I'm shocked by this.
Yeah, it's just, again, the similarities of Aaron Rodgers looking for the PI call, looking at the official.
Lots of complaining.
He got the point, too.
I know. I don't know what he's mad about. I'm not sure.
He's just mad.
So
he's a miserable person.
2 sets apiece. Sinner has a 3-2 lead in the fifth.
Djokovic on serve.
Don't disseminate, Schaefer.
I'm just saying he's on serve.
Yeah, but then you were going to say.
I'm not telling you what's happening in this.
And he hits it, and he hits it, and he hits it, and he hits it.
I'm not describing the rally.
Okay, good.
It's just ongoing.
Good. Quickly, before we get to Nebraska basketball fans fighting on the internet this week, which has been a topic this week, I wanted to mention this. John Walker from the World Herald did a good story in today's paper about a long read, if you will, about Creighton's Owen Freeman and just sort of the situation there and how difficult of a year it's been, and it's sort of almost like a post-mortem on the entire situation, given Creighton's season is sort of, turned into a little bit of a different thing now. Now tomorrow is still a big day and all those other things, but I said this on Twitter, but I've got to have a bunch of interactions with Owen over the time he's been here. I mean, I think number one, he feels genuinely really bad about how this has all happened and how this has all worked out. But he's a good guy and he wants to be out there and performing well. And it just got off to such a bad start with the injury and getting forced back in and sort of all these different things. And it's just been a bad situation for everybody involved. And obviously the season has taken a hit because of it. I hope, and I don't know how Creighton fans feel about this, because I know he gets it hard online. I hope that that there is a moment for him in the next month. I hope that there is like a feel good Owen Freeman moment at some point in the next month, just so this can, whether it's, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that comes to fruition, but I want that to happen really bad for everybody involved. That's what I'm rooting for.
The likelihood he plays on Saturday?
I don't know. I don't know what his.
Obviously, McDermott had sort of the weird comment about he's got something else.
Yeah, they're doing post practice today. If he's over the sickness and the injury was minor enough, I would imagine that they'll probably need him for a game like this.
Be nice to have him,
especially you want to get him. Continue to get Jason Green some minutes not playing. But it's become increasingly difficult to find opportunities to do that. So likelihood that he plays, you just got to get in 1 minute. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I'd say good.
Okay.
I'd say good. You want a percentage? 75%
that he played.
Yeah.
So whatever popped up this week was just a random one-off thing.
Seems like it.
Okay.
Seems like it to me.
It was unclear to me with the way that it was described from you and described from Jacob as to what the severity of that was.
It was definitely a weird description.
Well, yeah.
He's got another thing with his leg.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out more this afternoon. And I'm sure Mac will probably, have some of the details at the Hope Lodge today when he drops by with John and Josh. Okay. Fighting on the internet.
We have seen a lot of it.
It's been a banner week for fighting on the internet. There has been many targets of Nebraska basketball fans' internet attempted assassinations. And
I don't know. Assassination.
They're trying to delete people from planet Earth.
Are they trying to?
They deleted a whole tweet from planet Earth.
They didn't delete the tweet. And frankly, I think if you ask Nebraska fans, they're probably upset the tweet got deleted.
That I believe that.
Yeah.
That's why you got screenshots.
Because they wanted to keep
they
going.
do.
But a screenshot is not a screen recording. In this case, it was a video. that they tried to murder yesterday and successfully did. So
I don't know that they were looking to murder here.
I don't know.
I think you're ascribing a bit too far.
Nick Stauskas,
Impugn.
he's alive. Nick Stauskas is alive.
Yeah, we saw he was alive. He's been active on Twitter defending his honor.
He has been. Then there was the internet guy,
Ant Wright,
Mr. Ant,
yeah,
who loves to talk about things on the internet about Big Ten basketball. And then yesterday, the latest example was Ice Young. Ice Young.
Did you know that Ice Young existed before yesterday?
Nope.
I didn't either.
Sorry, Ice.
Apparently, we've been teammates for a while prior to my removal at Paramount.
She went on the internet.
Never saw her around the office.
Or on the television yesterday and proclaimed that Nebraska is not a Final Four team because they haven't really played anybody yet. In fact, they have played mostly the bottom half of the Big Ten so far, which it doesn't take much research to understand that is not necessarily true. It is actually patently false. Nebraska has played basically everybody in the Big Ten, including losing to Michigan this week, but also beating Illinois on the road several weeks ago. And I guess they have an upcoming matchup with Purdue. They've already beaten Michigan State. Those are four of the top 5 teams of the Big Ten, including themselves right there. They've played all but one of them.
How dare they not have an inter-squad scrimmage?
And then I believe in the minute 30 clip that I saw rolling around, she had mentioned that like something along the lines of maybe that changes when they play Rutgers. Or like what is going on? Like what is happening here? Predictably, didn't take long for Nebraska fans to find the clip from the television show, and it was blasted like the spaceship that is going to be going around the moon next week, to the point where it was deleted off the internet by America's most watched network themselves. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, someone decided that they didn't really decide. They were given the topic of Nebraska basketball, and Gary Parrish said some nice things. And, I don't remember who the third member of the panel was, but Nebraska basketball was a topic of conversation because, again, they had the game against Michigan.
They are topical.
Team. They have been talked about before by CBS, and this is weirdly also the same entity in which another one of their people on, I think it was CBS HQ, had went on at one point after they had beaten Michigan State and Illinois and questioned the quality of win that Nebraska had accomplished to this point, before clearly also looking at the schedule as he was saying that and then backtracking in the moment. So I don't know. There's something about CBS Sports at the moment where they just don't look at schedules before they talk, I guess. But yeah, Ice Young kind of stepped in it, and then everyone stepped on her at that point in time and stepped all over the tweet. When I first saw it, there was like 22. I should have screenshot this because this is what I'm usually interested in. Like when you know something's about to get ratioed, and it had been up for like 20 some minutes at this point. And there's like 22 tweets or retweets or quote tweets, and then like 40 some comments.
Yep.
And then over on the right, there's like 8 likes.
Yep.
And
like
I knew it was off to the races at that point.
Can I say this? I get it. It's a bad take. It is a bad, and it's bad analysis. It's incorrect analysis. Yeah. And yes, I do believe that people should have the journalists or whatever, talkers should be held to the standard of doing better at their jobs. However, I think maybe we've gone a little over the top in the last 4 days.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
Okay, so if you took these,
Nick Stauskas we'll never do another Nebraska ball game again.
I'm okay with that. That's a win for America.
I think I am too, but I get it. He didn't do a very good job.
It's not his fault he was put in that position.
It's not John Carlo's fault. It's not his fault he was put in that position, and he didn't have very many.
At the same time,
reps.
his responses online, 100% him.
Tough hangs for sure. Understood. And then the two, like CBS, which it's not the first time that CBS has had a bad take. Imagine how many times a week they get ratioed.
Me. That was a bad
That
take.
was a horrible take by CBS. Exactly. And I'm sure they got rightfully ratioed for that. People were tweeting at CBS Sports saying, how could you do this to Mike Schaefer?
And they're like, who?
And
I don't know who this is.
And so it's not the first time that anything like this has happened, but they took it down, which means it got so bad and so one-sided, and probably, I would imagine, I didn't see all of the responses, kind of personal.
So that's where I don't care if someone's just wrong. And if this happens to me and someone, comes after me because you're factually wrong, like, okay, I'd rather know that at some point in time. It's when it gets to be like about the person themselves or, what they look like or that she's a woman, whatever. I didn't see any.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, and I didn't when I saw it, I looked at it at that point in time and then received in the aforementioned people hate them group text. I'm in quite a few of those. Received this across all of them because angry Nebraska basketball fans were out in hordes.
You cannot stop them. They're
mad. They're mad online. They're mad in real life. They're mad at the officials. They're mad at Peacock. They're mad at Aunt Wright. They're mad. They're mad at you.
They're mad all the time.
So they're mad at you this week.
This is the question. This is the topic that I wanted to this is the question. Why are they so easily triggered?
I don't know if it's easily triggered.
I mean, it's an explosion. It's every time anything says anything about Nebraska, it is an explosion.
Again, I think this is true in.
They are very easily triggered. Very.
Are we saying Nebraska football fans aren't easily triggered? Because
no, we are saying the whole entire Nebraska fan base is very easily triggered.
Yes.
What's happened? Why is that?
I assume a lot of it has to do with not much winning, not a lot of just being able to let it go.
Yeah.
And look, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say the tribalism and the want to defend of your team exists in all fan bases.
It does.
And you should not do the thing where you say you don't see this from Creighton because they will defend themselves to the end.
Not at all where I was going to go. Okay.
I just wanted to cut that off at the pass.
Not at all where I was going to go. But I don't know. It does feel, I don't know, more.
This week feels way more over the top.
A little more cumbersome.
I would say that top 10 week has brought the emotions out from people.
Yeah.
More than that's why I put it on here because I found it comical.
But that's what I would do. I would look at the thing and I would say, classic, great.
I used it to promote my own work. So I'm not above just doing that.
Well done.
But I found the thing that killed me.
I can't imagine having such an emotional reaction to when someone said something on television about your team.
This is where we are.
And for the record, talking about them and their validity as a Final Four contender. You should be the happiest person on earth.
And I think that's floating. I think that's why the Gary Parrish clip didn't have anything happen with it because he's like, yeah, I'm not sure that they can get to the Final Four, but they showed that they can compete at a really high level.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody can get to the Final Four because only God knows who gets to the Final Four. It's the most random thing we have.
But when you do say, I don't think that they played a difficult schedule relative to the other Big Ten teams.
That is just wrong.
And you end up with honest to God community notes.
I know. I got community notes and then deleted.
Tweet.
Yes.
Like, I've never had community notes on anything I've ever tweeted.
Nice job by you, Schaefer. I haven't either.
I feel like that's my new standard for if that ever happens to me, I might just retire on Twitter. I don't want community
It'd be a good time to do it.
It seems like it's pretty easy to avoid community notes. You just don't get things wrong that you can easily figure out yourself.
Yeah. Or don't wade into very, very toxic waters.
Wow, that too.
Which I didn't think Nebraska basketball was toxic waters.
Were wrong.
I was wrong.
It is an angry, angry time. And that's why I'm excited for Sunday's crowd at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Yeah, they'll have a little bite to
Those
them.
officials are absolutely going to receive it, and they had nothing to do with what happened to Michigan.
Those Twitter
But
accounts are
as
going to be
soon as Brad
up in there.
Underwood even gets one to come over to talk to him, it is going to be raining booze in that place.
Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here is Rich. Hi, Rich. Good morning.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Can't you guys get along?
We do get along.
Can't you guys get along?
I think we get along
We're
famously.
great friends.
You got to remember one thing. Nebraska fan, this is coming from a Creighton supporter. Enjoy the dance. Folks, this don't happen that often. This is a magical, magical season. You can rant, you can go crazy, you can do whatever you want, but you know what? Enjoy it because it doesn't happen that often. I will tell you this: you guys haven't discussed really what's really important this coming weekend. If I was Illinois, I would say, can we just forfeit this game? Because we're probably going to get beat by 30. Because you got a pissed off Nebraska team that basically, without two top scorers and two top players, took Michigan basically to the edge. And I'll tell you right now, I am not impressed with Michigan. I am not impressed with Michigan. And I'll tell you right now, if any other teams in the Big Ten think they're better, guess what? They might as well just give the crown to Nebraska. Now, that's coming from a Creighton fan. I can accept your magical season. And you know what? I think it's great. I think it's great for the state. I don't care. I know Creighton fans are freaking out, and they're upset because their team is basically Rick Johnson 2.0.
Oh,
But
no.
the situation is enjoy it, man. This is it. This don't happen that often. We're not Arizona. We're not Duke. We're not any of these teams. So you know what? What you guys are doing is awesome. So rant if you want, but enjoy it because guess what? This is your time, so make the most of it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate the call. Just enjoy it.
Rich called in last week, and I think
He had a good hype speech, didn't he? Yeah.
Right. And it was a lot of it was prefaced with "I'm not a Nebraska fan," and then he made the same Rich Johnson comment.
Yeah, it scared me both times.
You both times you like you kind of got like upright, like wait, what?
I saw some stats going on about the late Rick Johnson era the other week, and I was
not Rich.
was not happy with him.
Don't need a
Jana
community note on air.
writes in on Twitter, have you met an Iowa fan? Oh, so now we're playing the game of who's more triggered on the internet?
They are pretty triggered over there in Hawkeye country.
I have met several through the great platform of Twitter over the years. And
I've been the target of quite a few.
me
over
too.
there.
I've been the target of all these people.
People like to target you.
I know. I get targeted all the time.
Why do you think that is? What is it about you that lends people to think, you know what? That clown Connor Happer needs to hear from me about what he just said.
You know, I wish I couldn't say. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I don't know what it is either. You would strike me as someone who would not get targeted as much as you do.
Everyone thinks I'm a nice person who knows me.
Maybe people think they can just steamroll you.
Maybe.
They're looking at it and they're like, that guy isn't tough.
Do I need to be
I'll
less?
come at him with some facts and with some vitriol online, and he'll fold like a cheap tent.
I do usually, like, if you get me to respond, which if you do get me to respond, then you know that I'm pretty boiling. I usually respond with sarcasm, you know, so maybe that's part of it. I'm not going to go back after you. Like, there's not going to be a Jack Mitchell 12 tweet string.
You responded to Jack Mitchell with sarcasm.
I did. I enjoyed it. I think
you were part of this week as well.
I am always part of the weeks, apparently. Here's Joel, who writes in, why do Nebraska fans get so triggered? Asked the Creighton Honk radio hosts who performed a song about them missing the conference tournament last year to rub it in their nose.
Yeah.
It was a great song.
You wonder, why do I receive this? Why do people think this about me and Creighton?
Jason writes in on Twitter, it's one thing to say, no, they aren't a Final Four team because they lack X thing, but to say they haven't played enough top teams is just dumb.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
No,
There's no validity to the comments.
Here is my favorite part of all of this, though, because I didn't know who Ice Young was, and I wanted to see Ice Young's game, and so I went over to her Twitter page, and she has a pinned tweet, and her pinned tweet is offering media coaching services, media training.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I thought to myself, oh no.
Do you think she got any signups yesterday?
I wonder if people wanted her to sign up for her own training. I also wondered if, like, the first thing it would say is be prepared to talk about the subject. I died when I saw that. It killed me. And I have no idea who this person is. And part of me feels bad because she made a mistake. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
No.
I guarantee how she feels about Nebraska basketball changed dramatically from when she didn't think they had played any good teams.
You bet she's going to be careful next time.
I wonder if she was part of having it taken down.
Probably.
Because
it's like, I'm getting it. Like, it's about to get real bad.
And it wasn't even like it was that highly ratio.
So will you welcome Ice Young back
on a Nebraska Ball Tuesday?
Yeah, back to Nebraska.
I could extend the olive branch, I suppose.
Okay.
I hadn't considered that, but
have her on.
I don't know.
Or welcome her to the state.
I would have a tough time. Like, if I was interviewing you or I was on that show and you said that, I would have immediately responded.
I know. And see, that's what I always think too. I'm like, how do these people say these things and not get immediate pushback?
That these studio shows exist only to be able to cut clips like that because no one else is listening to what the person is saying.
Correct. Like if I'm Gary Parrish, I'm sitting right there. I'm like, okay, hang on. No, they've actually been good.
Talk. You're told to be quiet or your microphone is muted. And I've heard people talk about Nebraska recruiting efforts and say things that I know are not true.
I don't know how they do it.
But you can't really respond in the way that is set up.
I don't know how they do it.
But in every other facet, you will get a response, and she did.
We got to take a break. One more tweet from Jack John, who writes saying, you need to get some tats on your neck and face, toughen up the image a bit. Okay. Great idea. Just so people don't come after me as much, I will get face tats.
What should my neck tattoo be?
Coming up next, more Nebraska ball, but an opponent preview. Jeremy Werner of Illinois 24/7, the Illini Inquirer, will join us next on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from our friends from Underdog Fantasy. Football's biggest game is right around the corner, and you can get on the action with Underdog right now in Nebraska. If you're not on Underdog yet, you are in luck because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just head to the app, make picks on if a player will go higher or lower. Higher or lower. That's simple. Touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and anything else you can find on the Underdog app. If you get those right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Plus, there's new promos dropping daily in the app. So if you like making picks, you do. And if you like winning money, you do. Then Underdog is the best place to be for the big game, which is coming up. So take a look across the board. Whatever you like, it's going to be there for you. And there's deals dropping in the app, of course, throughout the week as well. What are you waiting for? Download it today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on fantasy. Promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, welcome back. Nebraska and Illinois on Sunday, Pinnacle Bank Arena. It is a big one in terms of the Big Ten title race. So let's talk about the Illini, who are coming off of a win last night against Washington. Jeremy Warner from Illinois' 24/7 site, IlliniInquirer.com, joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Jeremy, good morning. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Good. Go ahead. Shay.
Before we just spent the last segment, have you ever felt the wrath of Nebraska fans on Twitter?
Oh, good one.
They've been having a week going after everyone from Nick Stauskas to Ice Young. Aunt Wright caught some in there. Have you ever been involved in a Nebraska Twitter wrath?
You know what? I haven't, because obviously Nebraska fans, I think they take really seriously that they are like the nice fan base, in the country. To be honest with you, I kind of like that Nebraska is going after people. Like, it's such a huge fan base, and you should with this basketball team. I know they're coming off a loss to Michigan, but I was almost as impressed with what they did in that loss without Rink Mass, without Brandon Frager is one of my favorite players to watch in the Big Ten. So, like, to see them kind of, shut their stuff a little bit and act like every other fan base and not care if they're nice or not, I'm kind of like that out of Nebraska fans. This is the Big Ten. There should be some rivalries. There should be some juice to it. So, no, it's good to see. Guys, to be honest with you, I can't wait to get to Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's going to be my first trip there. I've covered plenty of football games. But for whatever reason, my other two guys that have worked for me have always done the trip to Lincoln for basketball. So I can't wait to get there on Sunday, because I know how much Nebraska fans support their teams. For Fred Hoiberg to have this rolling like this, nobody saw this coming. It's got some shades of what Indiana football did to it. So I can't wait to see the atmosphere there Sunday and a top 10 matchup here.
Hey, do you have the ability to plug an Ethernet cord into your computer? Serious question. The Wi-Fi is going to be bad on Sunday. That's all.
Gotcha.
Just wanted to.
That's what I've heard. I've heard the Wi-Fi not so great.
The media workroom, you'll be great there, but sitting up in the media area trying to cover the basketball team, you're maybe not going to be on the board as much as you would be in a home game.
Yeah, get that Big Ten checks coming in, guys. What's going on?
I don't know.
It's been bad for a while. It's like the one bad thing about that arena.
it's tough, but as long as you can, you can work your way around it. You'll be all right. All right. Take me back to last night a little bit in the sort of tune-up game, I suppose. Every Big Ten game is a little bit difficult, and then have to go up against a potential like lottery pick in Steinbach last night. Sort of choppy for Illinois, but they control it the whole way. What did you take away from the win against Washington last night?
Obviously, in the short term, just the game, they took care of business. I mean, that's what you got to do in the Big Ten. They were up by about 14 late. They controlled the game outside of the first 4 minutes and really never relented their lead, never got within one possession to where it was really, really dicey. But Washington kept, cutting it to 5, but Illinois would answer at every turn. The most impressive thing to me, guys, and I think you guys have probably figured out about Keaton Wagler mania after what happened with Purdue, the 46-point performance, but what an encore. I know he didn't have 46 points, and that's maybe the expectation for some people now, but he had 22 points on 13 shots, 8 assists, 1 turnover. It's just unbelievable poise, unbelievable just, decision-making for a freshman guard who's still 18 years old. He turns 19 next week. So he just controlled the game yet again. He's done that ever since the Illini handed him the keys to this offense after the UConn game. And he's the main reason Illinois is the number 1 offense in the country, along with their shooting, which has been really good and continued to be pretty dang good last night. But just kind of a business-like approach. I was kind of concerned about that game. You got Purdue was such an emotional win for the team. I wasn't worried about Keaton, but you worry about the rest of the team and how they would handle that. And then you have this game looming at Nebraska, which has huge Big Ten title ramifications. I think it's even bigger for Illinois than Nebraska, because Nebraska is kind of taking care of their hard part of the schedule for the most part, at least, on the road. And now, if they win this game, I think they're in the driver's seat for this Big Ten title race. So I think it's a huge game looking ahead. So Washington's got some talent. They're not the best team, but I thought it was kind of a scary game for Illinois. And and they took care of business and kind of controlled the game. So that's what's been impressive since that Nebraska game, guys. Like, zooming out of the season, the Nebraska loss was probably the best thing for Illinois because it really let Brad Underwood lay into his team. They were kind of coasting with good offense, and they had to get better defensively, and Nebraska just tore them apart, put them in a blender, and it was a wake-up call for that team. Since then, they've won 10 straight games, 9 straight games over high major opponents. They go on the road and beat Iowa. They go on the road and beat Purdue. So they've gotten better. They lost Kylan Boswell to an injury, which is going to impact them probably on Sunday, but they're 3-0 without Kylan Boswell right now. So I think this team is way better than the version Nebraska saw a month and a half ago, but that's what Sunday's about, is to show that they are that kind of team and, really kind of a Final Four contender. I think these top 4 teams in the Big Ten, maybe even Purdue, you could throw in their top 5, are all Elite 8 Final Four contenders. So it's going to be a phenomenal matchup tonight between Michigan and Michigan State, and then we get another one on Sunday with Illinois and Nebraska.
Yeah, I want to give you some credit because way back when in December, and I think it was when Nebraska was putting the finishing touches on a 30-point win against Wisconsin, you had tweeted out that it was going to be a tough one for Illinois that weekend. And I think you got some pushback within your own fan base, and then Nebraska showed up. And what I want to ask, what do you remember from that game? And then you kind of hit on it a little bit there. It feels like that was a real almost turning point for Illinois' season as to how things have kicked off from that point.
Well, first of all, it's hard not to remember Price Stanford was at 26 points in the first half.
Yeah.
It's an absolute flamethrower. Illinois really wanted him in the transfer portal, and it was like, oh, okay, now I see why. Because we know how good Peyton was at Iowa. Price is having a better season than I think Peyton ever had at Iowa. So what he's become is an all Big Ten first-team player. I don't know in this Big Ten if he's a Big Ten Player of the Year. That's the remarkable thing about Nebraska right now is you can make the case for Rink and Price Stanford. And then I think we were kind of going down the list yesterday. Like Braden Frager might be 6th man of the year. Sam Hoiberg, I think it maybe surprised everybody should get all Big Ten consideration given what he's doing. So kind of reminds me of some of the great Wisconsin teams where, like, man, is there a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate here? But just what they do, they're so good at what they do. And it's a credit to Fred. You guys probably have better perspective of this, but starting off, like the first couple of years of Fred where, he kind of went with the McGowan kids and it didn't feel like a Fred Hoiberg team. And ever since then, Mike, I'm the biggest fan of Tominaga, but like what they do, like Fred has figured out what he wants, how he wants to run things. It's an old team. They're so connected right now. Like, I think Michigan's more talented. I think Illinois is more talented. Purdue might be more talented, but like just the collection of what Nebraska has right now is really, really special. And if you don't come mentally focused defensively for 40 minutes, they're going to dice you up. And then defensively, they probably don't get enough credit for how good they are just because they are so connected. So it reminds me a little bit of, it's weird that Nebraska basketball and Indiana football are so good given the passion of the other sports at those schools. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, of what Signetti had about how connected, how good they were at what they did, and how they put other teams in a blender. So I'm just really impressed. I think Fred's the runaway Big Ten Coach of the Year right now. Maybe if Michigan wins the title by a couple games, Dusty May comes and wins it. But I don't think they're going to run away from Nebraska. So just really impressive what they've done with their collection of players.
Jeremy, you look at this Illinois team, and it's the number one adjusted efficiency offense in the country right now. It's on a really good run. You mentioned with Wagler. Nebraska's coming off of an incredible first half offensively against Michigan, and then a bit of a rock fight in the second half, and that's without Mast and Frager. I think all signs point to an offensive game here, and in those games, I look at sort of the defensive side. Nebraska's been steady there this year. Illinois, it's been a little bit more up and down. I guess, what do you think, Illinois will throw at Nebraska on the defensive end on Sunday?
Just to hit on the offense real quick, like the fun thing about these teams is you can come up with whatever scheme you want and they have answers.
Yeah.
That's what's so impressive about Nebraska and Illinois. Like, Matt Painter, I thought, had a great game plan. Make Keaton Wagler take tough shots and don't let anybody else beat us. And Keaton Wagler just beat him. And then they finally throw a different coverage at him, and he beat him a different way by getting his teammates the ball, and his teammates cashed in with some clutch threes down the stretch. I think the same way. of what Nebraska does. It's just they're going to put you through all those screens, and getting through that is really difficult. And that's where I think it's really difficult to lose Kylan Boswell. They put him on Stanford, and Stanford got going, but in the second half, they slowed him down a little bit because Kylan Boswell is quick enough, strong enough to get through those screens, get over top, and kind of chase them. The rest of Illinois, especially the front court guys, they're big, they're easier to screen. And Andre Stojakovic has kind of become their go-to defender. So I would imagine he gets Price Stanford. He gives a lot of effort. He's got a lot of length. Illinois is the longest team in the country. They're the tallest team in the country. So they use their length a lot, especially in the paint. But when you have Rink who can, stretch you out like he does, and then you have all these shooters surrounding him, like it allows Sam Hoiberg to get downhill, create for his teammates. Jamarcus Lawrence, same thing. So yeah, like without Kylan Boswell, this Illinois defense is susceptible. But what they do is they rebound well. Illinois is going to have to rebound well, limit second chances, contest these threes, and just get a hand up in Price Stanford and hope Nebraska doesn't have a great shooting night and that you have a really good shooting night. So there's really no perfect defensive coverage for them. Illinois has run more zone without Kylan Boswell. I just don't know, guys, is Nebraska a team that you can really zone up too much. But they will throw it out there now as a changeup to just kind of cut off some driving lanes. So if Sam does get downhill and puts Illinois in rotation, they could just zone up and allow them to just try and match up zone to contest some of these threes and not have to chase through.
Tell us the story of Keaton Wagler ending up at Illinois, because this is a guy that kind of is an incredible player that feels like so many people missed on, the recruiting industry missed on. I don't even think he was like a shoe circuit guy in the AAU thing. And here he is, one of the best players in the country. Unfortunately for Illinois, could simply just leave for the NBA after this season with the year that he's having.
Get better.
He gone.
He's 6'6", 190 and came from Shawnee, in Kansas, and he ends up at Illinois, and he's nothing like the rest of the players on that roster in a lot of ways. Like he's so unique in what he is and how he plays, and nobody really knew of him outside of obviously Brad Underwood and this staff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Didn't play on a major shoe circuit. He was loyal to the AAU team that brought him in as a 5'9" freshman guard, right? And they kind of let him run the offense. Then he shot up to 6'6", 160. Had some offers to go play for some other AAU teams, go play for some prep schools, and he decided to stay with his high school, win back-to-back state championships, and go on the AAU circuit. That's not EYBL. That wasn't Adidas. None of those major circuits. So a lot of schools didn't see him that much, but mid-majors really liked him. I know Nico Medved at Colorado State was recruiting him really hard. I don't know how hard Ben McCollum was actually recruiting him, even though he said he was. But Brad Underwood, his son, Tyler Underwood's a coach on staff. He's actually the offensive coordinator, so it's been a really good year for Tyler Underwood, because he was the lead guy. He saw Keaton Wagler. He was recruiting one of his teammates. He was a big man. And he knew of Keaton and liked him. But Illinois loves positional size. They love skill, and they love guys who can process the game at a high level feel. I think Fred likes a lot of the same things. And they went out on a limb and offered him. Then Minnesota came in and offered him. And Minnesota had a really good sell with Ben Johnson at the time, because Cam Christie was a very similar prospect. And he became a surprise one and done, right? Like he was outside the top 75 as a prospect. So it was kind of, you want to go to Minnesota where they were often good NIL and, be a go-to guy, or do you want to go get developed at Illinois, which is a winning program? Illinois did not expect this. But once Keaton got here in the summer, guys, he was just unbelievable. Like Kylan Boswell told me that he tried to punk him. Like he tried to just own this freshman, see what he was made of. And Keaton, he couldn't stop him. He couldn't stop him in practice, and he kept answering. And he was never bothered by physicality or whatever Kylan threw at him. And Kylan's one of the best on-ball defenders in the country. So, Illinois was trying to keep it quiet. They were excited about him, but they didn't want it out there that, like, hey, the expectations are too high. But by media day, Brad was saying, this guy's as good as, Casper Shakashonis and Will Riley, who were the first one and done in Illinois history last year. And then, he was saying, Kylan said this guy could be the best player one of the best players who ever played here, and that's ridiculous. Like, we're sitting there going, Keaton Wagler? Like, we thought this guy was going to be maybe a rotation bench guy, and the first couple games, like first month, there were some ups and downs as you would expect. But then after the UConn game, they gave him the keys to the car, guys. And I'll get up the stats here in a second, but he has just been so consistent. And what is amazing about Keaton, I mean, he looks like he's 18 years old.
Yeah, he does.
Well, what's amazing about Keaton is he plays like he's 23-year-old Tyrese Halliburton. Like he just the poise he has. He's never rushed. He's never fazed by Mackey Arena or Pinnacle Bank Arena. I don't worry about him with those mental parts. He just makes the right decision over and over again. The last 13 games, guys, he's averaging 20 points, 5.5 assists, 1.6 turnovers, and 5 rebounds while shooting 47% from three.
And playing like 38 minutes a game. He played all 40 against Nebraska in December. I was just looking at that, and he never came off the court. Like, that's incredible as a freshman to have that level of conditioning on top of all of it.
The way I compare it is like you just dropped 22-year-old Tyrese Halliburton, 23-year-old Tyrese Halliburton on the line. Like that's how it is watching him right.
Yeah, nice. It's a nice boost. That's for sure. Yeah. Well,
I don't know where they'd be without him.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun on Sunday. Jeremy, safe travels getting out here. Enjoy Lincoln, and we will talk to you down the road.
Yeah, I can't wait for it, guys. Thanks.
It's Jeremy Werner. Check out his stuff. He's the best that I've found.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people that I worked with over at 24/7 Sports.
Yep.
Love going on to his stuff over there. Have great chemistry with him. He's tremendous. He has nothing but respect for the Nebraska brand and all of that, which has nothing to do with any of it. He's just very good at his job. Like, he's very, very good at his job. Yep. And it's a tough one over there.
The kids would say that he knows ball.
Yes. And not just basketball. He's that way with football. He's that way with like all of it. That guy is clued in on everything happening at Illinois.
He knows ball. All right, we'll be back round at the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. Mike Schaefer, you remember the infamous game where Michigan came to town at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and they had a player by the name of Mo Wagner. Mo Wagner. And what did they chant at him that night in the student section? Wagner.
I think Nebraska won that game by like 40
They
points.
did. And so coming to town on Sunday is a man by the name of Keaton Wagler.
Do you think it'll be a Wagler chant?
Yep.
Do you think they're actually going to chant that?
I think they should. I think it'd be funny if they did.
I don't
Wagler.
I don't think the student section has been real chant heavy.
They need to get some chants. We need more chants.
There's been like the ref related chants and the
Ref, you suck.
Yeah, that which just comes with the territory of the conference.
Defense.
I don't think there's even been
No,
that.
they don't do that.
No.
That's all right. Chants. Time for chants.
Yeah, if
Bring them back.
the student section leaders are listening to this, Connor Happer is giving you an idea.
I am. That one's free.
I wonder how organized the student section is now relative to like when I was in the red zone and there was
like
coordinated effort for certain players on the other team.
Yeah, those were fun times. I sat in that student section a couple times at the Devaney, especially when there was like 40 people in there. Great times.
The Colorado Buffaloes took like a very homoerotic team poster.
Yikes.
And that was disseminated and displayed widely throughout that game.
By the way, did you see
Richard
Colorado?
Roby? Do you remember him?
I remember Richard Roby.
He was an enemy of the red zone for years.
He was.
You
I
would get a
remember that.
lot of dick chants when Richard Roby
got it.
was playing.
Gotcha. By the way, did you see Colorado get absolutely smacked last night by Iowa State? Woof.
Is Tad Boyle still there?
I think so. They're in bad shape.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
I was going to say, aren't they bad at basketball at
the
the moment?
the best of
Normally
us get
not.
smacked by Iowa State. It happens.
Right.
It happens.
But in
some
general,
teams beat Iowa State in an exhibition game.
in general, Colorado has been a little off as of late.
Yeah. They got problems over there. But here's what I wanted to do for a couple minutes. I wanted to, since Illinois now, with the emergence of Keaton Wagler, who has become the story now, the story before that was
Look at this Eastern Bloc.
that these are the European All-Stars, which they are.
But now with Shawnee represented.
And so Mike Schaefer, as a person who's new to full-time radio, being on the radio every day, you know, the print journos, the big J journos, they like to just write things down, and they can write things like Stojakovic, and they don't have to say it out loud. But now you do.
So are you going to
Schaefer.
give me the player number and then I have to?
I mean, you're looking at the list right there. So why don't you just? I want you to give it a
just
shot.
start picking them.
Now, I will say that I am not 100% sure on all of these either, but I think I got most of them by this point.
So Andrei Stojakovic.
That was a free one.
Yep, that's the free space.
That was a free one.
David Mirkovic.
Or Mirkovic.
Blake Fagbemi.
I would assume so. That seems right. I don't think he plays much.
I'm cheating on that one. There's a TV show with that exact last name.
Tell me number 13.
Number 13.
Come on, you got it.
Tomislav Ivicevic.
Ivicic. Tomislav is correct, though. Good job. How about number 3?
Okay.
He's from Indiana, by the way. This is an American.
Ben Humrichis.
Humrickhouse.
Yeah, there's no way.
I believe it is Humrickhouse.
No way.
31. 31. I don't know. He doesn't play much.
He's from Illinois.
Jaxtis. I'm not sure. And then they have a Petrovic and another Ivicic.
Yeah, Ivicic.
So
I feel like I did okay.
You did not do bad at all.
Notably, the guy from Indiana was the most difficult.
The one that's going to get people is Humrickhouse. Yes. And, Kylan Boswell is Kyle Boswell's pretty easy, but it doesn't sound like
out.
he's going to play. Yeah, he was.
That's kind of a big one. He played a lot of minutes in that game against Nebraska.
He's been out for 3 or 4 games now. Jeremy tweeted last night that when he saw him, he had a splint on his wrist. He's due to miss a couple more weeks.
37 minutes against Nebraska, 20-point effort. He went 3 of 6 from 3, 5 of 9 from the field, 7 of 9 from free throw, which famously Illinois will outshoot Nebraska at the free throw line by about 30.
But luckily, they have Wagler.
Or
as you should say,
Unluckily.
Wagler.
I will say one of the things that Nebraska did, and I don't know that it was Wagler as much as it was Boswell. They just absolutely torched them when they would come out to play 3-point defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were getting so much backdoor cut action, in part because obviously Stanford starts that game hitting all those threes, but they were closing out so hard that Nebraska was just blowing by them to the rim. Like they couldn't stay in front of Hoiberg. They couldn't stay in front of Jamarcus. They couldn't stay in front of Stanford.
It is a capable.
Frager barely played in that game.
As Jeremy mentioned, like they are not to go too deep in the scouting report here for Illinois. They are big, but they're a little slow of foot.
Yeah, no, Nebraska.
So you can blow by them.
Fred exploited that in a beautiful, beautiful way. I mean, if you go back and just watch some of that Nebraska-Illinois game and what Nebraska is doing on offense and how their floor spacing works, like that is what Fred Hoiberg can do to some teams when he has guys that can shoot and when you have rink mass.
You better be on it defensively against Nebraska.
Because you're flat-footed, you're dead in the water.
Big trouble.
And they don't really have like the best rim protection this year. I mean, they have long guys, but they're not necessarily the deterrence that some of the ones that you've seen in the past from Illinois.
No. There's no Kofi Coburn down there.
No.
Chilling.
Kofi and Lat Man almost threw hands.
Oh, no. Those were different
times. That's
when
I tweeted, Lat Mayhem.
Those were different times.
They were very different times.
All right. We are back after this on 1620 The Zone. Tough but fair from Husker Hoops Central on Twitter. Tweets at Happer and Schaefer. Nick Stauskas thinks that Happer's take that Nebraska basketball fans are triggered reminds him of Nick Stauskas. Once again, tough but fair. Tough but fair.
I look forward to Nick Stauskas' first game in Pinnacle Bank Arena.
It's going to happen, right?
Apparently, since he's a professional broadcaster now, with all of that training and great work that he can do. I mean, I guess they handed me a microphone at some point in time in my life, and I managed to do it with no training.
But it wasn't at a top 5 basketball
No,
game.
it really wasn't.
No. When was it?
I also formed sentences and said things.
When did you get handed a microphone?
I did my first radio show with Chris Schmidt, who wanted me to do a hit, and I was like relatively concerned about the quality of my phone. And so I was like,
that stood the test of time.
Yeah. I was like, I'll just go to the studio. And so then I started doing that. And then he's like, why don't you sit in on this segment? Because it would turn out that I had opinions and I could fill radio.
That's one thing you definitely have.
And largely it's just become one thing after another where people's like, hey, we've got time to fill. And this guy doesn't stop talking.
He loves talking.
Let's just slide him in here.
We need more people on the radio who could talk.
I can talk.
This is why I see things up for you.
Not entirely sure if Nick Stauskas can.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
I hope that someone in the game of which he's covering between Minnesota and Penn State, Joey informed us of this, comes up to him at warm-ups and says, hey, man, I modeled my game after you.
This is the exact
That'll
same thing.
give him an anecdote to drop in the middle of the game.
I wonder if there's a player that reminds him of himself.
He looks like me.
Yeah.
That's
Hopefully there's a Nick Stauskas cam during the broadcast so Nick Stauskas can watch himself watching the game.
All right, I have a couple things here, football-wise, before we get to Jake, who will definitely have takes about Nick Stauskas as well.
Yeah.
And we'll be excited because Nebraska has lost, even though he's the biggest Nebraska ball fan I know, probably.
He's a honker.
He most certainly is. So here's another instance of panic this week. People were freaked out about this Dylan Berriman situation. I'm here to tell you that I don't know what's going on with Dylan Berriman. Maybe we could turn this over to Mr. Talker, Mike Schaefer.
I have made some calls.
Okay, that's good. Let me say this before you say the factual things. This is not an instance of panic, in my opinion. It could be. It could be your opinion if he ends up getting swooped by Florida. This is not reason to sound the alarms and say this. There's so many better reasons to sound alarms about what's going on with Nebraska football than Dylan Berriman not committing to Nebraska. There's my take.
I think that's a fair take. I would push back at the edges of the take that it's not specifically about Dylan Berriman.
It might not be.
And I will, if you would like, can get into why later. But we'll start with what actually matters here. Dylan Berriman, who on 24/7 Sports is the number 191 player in the country, 24/7 Sports composite, 4-star, the number 22 defensive lineman. And this is an important part. He's 6'2", 330 pounds, and you put him in the middle of the defensive line, and he eats linemen.
That's large.
Pretty valuable. One of the highest rated uncommitted players in the country, still remaining, because famously there's 2 signing days. We don't really talk about this anymore.
We definitely forget about the February
era of the portal, but so he was still available to sign, and Nebraska was going up against Kentucky for him. Florida has come in as a team to note here, and it's sort of a unique situation. I don't know how aggressive Florida is actually here. I know there's not expected to be an official visit. However, because I used to work in this world, I still have some sources. I made some calls. And it was phrased to me like this: Florida would not be pushing particularly hard for Dylan Berriman, but if he were to happen to find his way on campus, they would take his commitment should he want to commit.
That makes me feel a little worse.
Should he? There's some.
They're not even trying, and they're going to get him?
I don't know that they're going to get him.
Okay, good.
There's some feeling that Florida has popped up as a bit of a smokescreen because it seems like it's obvious that Nebraska is where he's going to go, and then he's got a decision or whatever. So there's that aspect of it. There's also this. There's some work for him to do, similar to the Berberia, out of Iowa Western before they're going to be able to play college football. and it would be easier for him to make that happen at Nebraska than at Florida.
Okay.
So that would be one of the reasons why I think fans shouldn't be too concerned. But ignoring that, here's why Dylan Berryman is a big topic of conversation.
Mr. Berryman.
Nebraska didn't take any defensive line commitments.
No, the defensive line picture as a whole is not pretty.
And so to go from not taking anybody to getting a guy that gives you a legitimate nose tackle option in the future, something that you couldn't find in the portal because they kept telling you no, or you didn't have Corey Brown hired because somehow it snuck up on you that the portal was opening and you didn't have a defensive line coach, even though you let one go in the first week of December.
To be fair, they tried to get guys out of the portal last year and it didn't work for almost every single one of them with the exception of Winery.
Yeah.
So,
and at that point in time, you didn't have a defensive line coach that was currently with you when those guys were visiting.
That's true.
Because he was coaching Chris Jones and, the Chiefs on their Super Bowl.
No, it's a good point because
they've handled it poorly 2 years in a row.
They will say, or I don't know if they'll say this, but the thought is, all right, if you don't get somebody in the recruiting world, then you can just go out into the portal and you can try to patch those holes. And Nebraska has attempted that over the last couple of years, and they've pretty much failed.
And our guy, Tim, famously the morning shows guy, Tim, nobody else on the station.
Not any other shows.
They don't get to claim Tim Verghese has said multiple times on our show and others, it's not from a lack of Nebraska attempting to pay the defensive linemen either. They were offering a lot of money. They just didn't have a coach. And guys were like, yeah, you know what?
That is a bit of a red flag.
And here's the other thing. They went to the schools that are currently playing in the college football playoff because at some point it matters that your team best season in the last near decade is 7-6.
Now, however, did they get a transfer portal addition in the form of a person who was already on their roster?
The inter squad portal?
You mentioned this a few days ago, and then it ended up in the World Herald. Mac Markway.
Did they cite our show?
No. No. A source. They cited a source.
Is there a source?
Or no. No,
Twitter
actually,
account?
Mac Markway's dad.
Okay.
Matt Markway confirmed this to the World Herald.
Well, good for them.
Schaefer just said it on the radio, but it did end up happening. Mac Markway is moving over to defensive end. Matt Markway, his dad said, quote, God spoke to Mac about a change, and Mac felt destined to be a black shirt great.
Look, if it gets him on the field, the biggest thing for him is just to be able to stay healthy enough to contribute through August. I mean, he's unfortunately had a couple instances that have popped up the last 2 years that have wiped him out of seasons. He's a guy that I don't know that he was ever going to be a pass-catching tight end here at Nebraska. He's a very good blocker. He's a very physical player. So if you can get something like that out of him on the defensive side, it's at least worth seeing, as you go through spring ball and as you go through the summer.
Yeah, I don't know much how much you could expect from
I don't
it,
think the expectations are high, but if he gives you, someone that you can kind of consider there down the line, it's at least something. Because I think at this point, the tight end conversation was largely, he was going to be passed by Luke Sorensen, who's coming in as a freshman.
Seemed like it.
Carter Nelson's expected to be the second tight end. Hayden Echternacht.
Echternacht is the guy I always forget about.
Who's the new Luke Lindenmeyer.
Yes.
Eric Ingwerson, if you remember him from Papillion La Vista.
Papio South.
He's
Papio South, right? Not Papio?
Is it South or is it? I think it's just regular Papillion La Vista.
Check.
Sorry,
the city of Papillion.
That is we want to make sure that's accurate. We don't want community notes should Joey clip this and have it on.
No, we don't.
On Twitter.
It appears that he was a Monarch. You were correct.
That's what I was thinking.
My B.
I watched him play Lincoln Southeast a couple years ago. And he and Gunnar Gatula were battling it out.
There you go. I remember Gunnar Gatula.
Yeah. They've got some tight ends they feel good about, so it makes sense that you would move them over here. And right now, the defensive line picture is very much a shrug emoji.
It is.
So we will find out more on the defensive line as we go forward, and we will find out more on Dylan Berryman specifically with signing day. And I ask you this, Happer, do you remember when there was a signing day in February and only one signing day?
I do. I did all the shows and talked to all the children. I remember panicking because I was taking a we got to take a break here. But I was panicking because me and my wife had gone on a trip to New York just for an extended weekend. And the day it was like there was weather, and the day I was coming back, or like the day before I was coming back, it was the National Signing Day show. And I was like,
What year was this?
Probably 17.
Okay, so it was before the split of the.
Yeah, I was like frantically texting recruits. I felt like a reporter in the airport trying to get them lined up to come on the show. I didn't like that. I didn't like it. Kent writes in, Papillion, get it together, man. I should just trust Mike Schaefer on all things high schools.
I could have been stronger in my it was Papillion.
My bad. All right.
I apologize.
We will take a timeout. Jake Sorensen will join us next on 1620 The Zone. schedule news for Nebraska ball next year. John Rothstein says Nebraska and Providence will meet next season in a neutral site game, one-off at Mohegan Sun in Atlantic City, according to multiple sources. Who will be the coach of Providence is my question. Probably not Kim English.
You think he's going to be?
It kind of feels like it.
They're going to send him out. Didn't they just have a nice win?
They had a close loss.
Okay.
As did Nebraska.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Close losses.
That's right. They played UConn on.
Yeah. They've had lots of inspiring losses.
How long has he been there? 2 years?
Yeah, this would be his third, I think.
Okay.
After the whole
They haven't
Cooley
been
situation.
that bad, right?
No, they haven't been that bad, but
You want him gone.
No, I don't want him gone. I'm just, he might be gone. That's all. All right. Let's get to our guest here. We've made him wait long
sorry,
enough.
Jake.
Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln. Hi, Jake. Good morning.
Gentlemen, good to talk to you again on a Friday.
Are you excited to go to Atlantic City next year to watch Nebraska ball?
Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. I've never been to Atlantic City. I've seen a lot of movies about it. I'd like to partake.
You've heard some songs about it?
The Vegas of the East Coast. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's what Schaefer said. He said the exact same thing. Maybe you guys can, get familiar with some Big East country.
I don't know that I said Vegas of the East Coast.
But no, you said you wanted to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jake's going to pick me up in his car, and we're going to drive out there.
Well, hang on a second. How is it not the Vegas of the East Coast?
Well, I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm just saying I didn't describe it like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been to Atlantic City.
It seems like a horrible place, to be honest with you.
I have not necessarily heard like things that make me think I really want to go, but I do want to do the Jersey Boardwalk. I'm more curious, is this going to be like a December game? Is it going to be an early November game?
Feels like a November situation.
Yeah, I need dates. I need times.
Maybe they could bring back the Gavitt games.
I actually thought that this was going to be part of that.
No, the Gavitt games has been dead
I
for
know
like
they
2
killed
years.
the Gavitt games.
Yeah.
Nebraska only played in them every other year or so.
Jake, would you like to bring the Gavitt games back?
Yeah, I'd love that. Nebraska is now an elite basketball team, so we'd love to just continue to build on that vibe and dominate the Gavitt game. So why not bring it back?
Okay,
Do it.
So with that being said, I mean, this has been a perfect week for you. You know, you've gotten healthy, I think, off of your sickness from last week. And
Yes.
Nebraska had one of the greatest losses that anyone has ever seen on Tuesday against Michigan.
Are you happy now,
Are
Jake?
you happy?
I'll say this, and I hate to take a jab when I talk about Nebraska, but I was in mourning after the loss. I was sunk into my couch, and then I was alerted by a friend to check out the score of the Creighton Marquette game, which I did. And I said, oh, my God. And I instantly perked up a little bit. You know, we have a rivalry. This is nothing new, Creighton and Nebraska. And so that was alarming. But regarding Nebraska, I thought when hearing before the game that Frager and Mass were out, it'd be a 15 to 20 point win for Michigan. So the fact Nebraska led for 36 minutes of that game was frankly still unbelievable. And you're right. It's a loss. It does count as a loss. But, man, we learned something about this team, that they truly are a team that can go the distance. And that was damn impressive.
Would you rather hear a Nebraska football game called by Beth Mowins, or would you rather hear a Nebraska basketball game with Nick Stauskas?
Oh, I'd take Beth Mowins. Yeah. Stauskas was awful. And I'm not a guy that likes to criticize all the broadcasting. I mean, it's kind of the thing to do. People always complain about refs, complain about the broadcasters. It's just the same old shtick. Stauskas was terrible. The energy for both those guys for a top 5 matchup, which actually delivered a good basketball game, was embarrassing. And Peacock should be just be ashamed of how that sounded, considering you don't get top 5 matchups very often ever for a network on college basketball.
Are you to go back to the loss thing, because I'm just trying to really dig inside your brain on this.
No.
Are you a moral victories guy, or like how does, because I totally understand taking a moral victory on that
Jake
game.
is not a moral victory.
That's what I
answer
thought.
for him. He is not a moral victory.
I thought you weren't a moral victories guy, but you
No.
wanted them to lose, and then they also lost like spectacularly in a good way. I mean, there's just a lot going on there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, to assess again, going back to last week, I said that I'm fine with the loss. I know people made fun of me, but they beat Minnesota, which we got that win was awesome. But Michigan, yeah, I don't want to lose the first game of the season by 30 points to take away a bunch, just a massive gut punch. And okay, are we really that good? The fact that it happened in that variety, yeah, I don't like moral victories, but I mean that is absolutely an acceptable loss that you can say, all right, we're building on that. This team is really good, even without two key players, and I think they'll be pissed off to make a run here again. So, no, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, guys. We have not won a playoff game in 25 years. I don't believe ever in moral victory because they're a waste of time. My whole life would be a moral victory at that point. So what's the point? I mean, what's the point?
That needs to be a graphic. Joey, work on that.
Yeah, and my whole life feels like it's a moral victory. That's kind of depressing when you think about it. I don't actually see an actual victory. What a concept that would be.
I don't even know how you follow this up with a
lot of moral victories.
All right. So what do you think Pinnacle Bank Arena will look like on Sunday? Are you going to be in attendance for this this game?
Yeah. I will be in attendance. I will be at the arena. I missed the last home game due to, of course, my illness, which sucked. I did watch the Washington game on TV and wished I was there. I will be there for this game at 3 p.m. on Sunday. It's going to be crazy. It's been an awesome crowd this year so far. It's been rockets. It's hard to get tickets. They're going up in price, which is beautiful to see the demand so high. And we all know it's a top 10 matchup. This is a team that's won 10 straight games coming in, and you gave them their loss to start their 10-game win streak. And so, what an opportunity to sweep a team on the season that's a no doubt top 10 team, and further make another statement about how good this program is this year. So it will be awesome and raucous. I will have libations in my system, as you might expect, and have a good time
and feel fine.
Fine.
Another topic that we discussed earlier. I think this has the potential of being the best environment in the building's history. And I know a lot of Nebraska ball fans who would say, look, I know it's going to be really good, but nothing will ever touch that day in 2014. What say you? Now, this is before the game. Maybe it's a different thing after. Do we have a chance to reach that territory on Sunday?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I think right now the competition for that, like you said, no sit Sunday when they beat Wisconsin 2014 is always going to be up there. I still think the game against Michigan State was electric. January 2nd this year, that was after Nebraska undefeated. It's a big home game. They beat Michigan State on a Friday night. That was a fun environment. But yeah, this is a top 10 matchup. You've further proved since Michigan State you're a legitimate good basketball team. And Illinois is also a great basketball team. So yeah, this could be an all-time atmosphere at PBA. And I'm trying to think the rest of the year, you have Iowa coming to town
Purdue.
to end the season in March. Purdue again, it should be electric, but they've also, they've lost 3 straight games. They're just kind of, they're not, it's not going to be the same electricity, I think, as Illinois.
Jake thumbing his nose at the Purdue basketball program. This is where we are in 2020.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Let's not forget, I have history with the Purdue basketball program in your city, in Omaha, a couple years.
He saw Matt Painter at the bar.
Yeah, I'm sitting at this is like 2021. I'm at Jay Gilbert's with my wife and my sister-in-law, and packed house in the summertime. We sit at the bar, and I see Matt Painter walk in, and he's looking for a seat. I'm like, oh, what's this guy? Is he by himself? What's going on? All of a sudden, he sits down by us at the bar. I said, okay, I try to be cool, and I didn't say anything to him, but I start I hear on the speaker Oye Como Va by Santana come on. And so I'm feeling good. I start singing Oye Como Va. I look over and he's laughing at me. I said, Coach, he's like, oh, you sound great. You sound great. And so, I talked to him for like a minute or two, and that was it. But he was in town for like a camp, I believe, or something. But yeah, Matt Painter, I have a rivalry due to the fact that he laughed at me singing Oye Como Va by Santana at Jake Gilbert's in Omaha.
Oh, I thought that was going to be like a bonding moment. It kind of felt like it was.
We ended up bonding, but it's still, he laughed at me.
This feels like one of those things.
He's holding grudges.
Like, this feels like one of those things that only happens to you.
Yes.
I don't know of any other media member that
it is kind of like the
story.
one time we chased down Jamie Moyer into that one place.
You guys have this like not you guys, but Jake has this like Forrest Gump existence sometimes with Nebraska sports and just, random crosses with different people or different things that happen.
Well, we can't forget also, I hate to bring up one, there's one more that's happened. I scared somebody off. This is a couple years ago, I went down to Arizona for a golf trip, and we're sitting in a bar in Scottsdale and watch the NFL playoffs, and then we look over, and my buddy's like, hey, that's Sean McDonough over there. The broadcaster said, oh, my God, that is Sean McDonough. And at that point, I was staring,
Nice.
and I couldn't look away. Sean McDonough has realized he's been seen and noticed and left the bar. Did not come back.
Wow.
You scared him away?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, at least Jamie Moyer, when we tracked him down, didn't leave that whatever bread place he was at.
Yeah. It was. I mean, that was.
He was at
pretty
an old home
sketchy,
bakery?
Brian.
What place? Where did we chase him into?
It was like Bread and Cup. I want to say
Bread
something
and
like
Cup.
that. I'm not sure it's open anymore, but we were sitting at
In Lincoln.
Yeah.
Longwell's,
okay.
which is no longer there anymore. Now it's called the Corner Bar.
Yeah.
And you said, that's Jamie Moyer. I said, what? He's like, that's Jamie Moyer. I said, okay, I don't know what he looks like. I know who he is, obviously, but we chased him down. Like, that was a couple blocks away, and this is a random spot. And I said, you guys asked me the question. You said, are you Jamie Moyer? I said, yes, I am. So that happened. He did say,
Did
yes,
anything
I am.
continue
He was
after
down.
that?
No, we were
He was
just
in
like,
town,
cool.
to talk to, I think he was talking to Concordia for something. He was like threw a first pitch at the Salt Dogs game.
Yes.
So it was quite an occasion. But yes, Happer somehow could tell Jamie Moyer who he was walking through the rail yard.
Let's bring this back to basketball here for the end. As a Nebraska basketball fan that's entire life has been nothing but a moral victory. How are you feeling going into this game against a top 10 Illinois team, a team that they've been playing really good basketball? Keaton Wagler is tremendous. How are you feeling about going into this? Like, what's your confidence level that Nebraska can hold serve at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena against a top 10 team with expectations, and they would be, 21-1 by the end of this week?
I expect Nebraska to win. I think it'll be a close game. The spreads are out
Jake
yet, but
Sorensen.
I'm guessing it'll be Nebraska favored by 1.5 to 2.5 in the game, which
He's
seems about
guessing
right.
the lines.
Yeah, I'm guessing lines. I think it'll come down to the final minute, as you expect, in the top 10 matchup. And I think Nebraska wins. Kylan Boswell had 20 points the first game for Illinois against Nebraska. He's out with an injury. And, Wagler's on an absolute heater, but I would think that Fred's team would say, listen, we are a great defense.
You think Nate
shut
Lunzer's
teams
got
down.
something cooked up for Keegan Wagler?
Yeah. Nate Ledger's like, bring him on. We're ready for you, Wagler. Illinois is number one offense in the country. They're a great rebounding team. And it'll be a tough game for Nebraska. But, if you can keep Wagner from going for 46 freaking points in a row like he did against Purdue, I like your chances of winning this game. And I think Nebraska is motivated. I think they're pissed off, but also encouraged by the way that game went on Tuesday. And if Prager is indeed back and Mast is also, it just helps your depth out, helps your starters get back. And I like the way this team operates. I expect Nebraska to win by 3 points.
Okay. All right.
3-point win. Jake Sorensen's calling it.
You heard it here first, a dub for the Big Red.
Call it in the air.
21-1.
I like it. All right, Jake. Well, enjoy. We'll look forward to all of what you get into on Sunday. I'm sure you'll be documenting it in some sort of way.
Yeah, my Twitter feed's usually a disaster. I try to keep it on the up and up, but that's not always a guarantee.
You do you, man. That'd be my advice. Do you?
Go be Jake Sorensen.
I will indeed do me.
All right. See you, Jake. Thanks.
See you guys.
Jake Sorensen. You can hear him 93.7 The Ticket early break with Sipple and
Bill Bush.
Bill Bush during our show. Well, you could listen to them for a little while. I give you permission, I suppose, since Jake is nice enough to join our show. But his show's over because his show is a 3-hour.
We're not Matt Painter. We don't have a rivalry with Jake.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be I thought he liked Matt Painter
I
because he saw
remember
him
hearing
at the
this
bar.
story and then forgetting the song as well.
Oye, como va? I could just see Jake sitting at the bar singing Oye, como va, not caring who was next to him.
I sometimes wonder, because he's been doing morning radio for
a long time,
15 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. And I've known him for a long time, and I've become friends with him and have spent plenty of time with him. But I think about how other people interpret him when they hear him on the radio. And either if they've never seen him or they don't like. All they know is this of him,
Right.
and I just wonder if they have questions because I feel like I would. Because he just comes across as this like character that doesn't seem like he could exist in real life, but he absolutely
It
does.
does. It's amazing.
It blows me away every time.
It's a very, very different thing. By the way, speaking of that, we don't have a line for Sunday yet, although on Ken Palm, Nebraska is projected to win by 2. So it feels like 1.5, 2-point favorites would probably be about the line, maybe 2.5. I do have a line on tomorrow in Omaha for the artist formerly known as Hell in a Cell. Creighton plus 6.5 against the number 2 Connecticut.
6.5
plus
it's a little lower than I might have guessed.
6.5.
I thought we were going to be closer to the double digits.
Saturday, pink out, Magic, home environment. I don't know.
UConn hasn't exactly been blowing the doors off on teams.
No, you never know. Maybe
But,
some magic happens.
I mean, Creighton lost by 46 to Marquette on Tuesday.
It was like 20 something.
24.
It was 30 something at one point, and they got it down to 14.
When I turned it off, it was 31.
Then it ended up a little bit better.
I felt comfortable that I wasn't going to miss a massive comeback.
Certainly no moral victories there. That's what I'll add to that.
No, there were not.
Let's take a break, and as we finish out the show, we will not have a crossover today, by the way. So we'll take you pretty much all the way up until 10, and then we'll send it over to Matt, who will be out at the Hope Lodge. Which once again we encourage everybody to get down there if you can. Drop off your paper products and say hello. Certainly they appreciate it. I think they usually have, and I'm sure they're in there by now. They usually have some sort of like a Creighton pink out shirt that you can grab over there if you don't want to wait and grab one before the game.
They have shirts
tomorrow.
available, and they have a shirt specific color that they would like for people to have.
That's why Creighton does the pink out game better than it. They have literally 16,000 pink shirts.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. Fantastic.
What an idea.
So that'll be tomorrow night at the Chi. Let's take a break and talk about them a little bit as we round things out and send you off into your weekend. Next on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert, sending you into the weekend. You know what? We should make predictions. We should make our weekend predictions at the end of this show. Now,
Okay.
Might as well.
Mike Schaefer has takes, so he definitely has predictions.
I certainly do.
Do you agree with Jake Sorensen that Nebraska will win by 3? We will find out. What say you about the Creighton plus 6.5 situation tomorrow? We will find out. How many points might Mr. 46 points Keaton Wagler score?
Oh, we're throwing that one in there. Okay,
Sure,
I
why
like it.
not? I don't know. We're making it up at this point. Let's talk about the Blue Jays, who we have not got to today. As I said before, check out John Walker in the World Herald today. He wrote a sort of all-encompassing, like, pull it together story on Owen Freeman. What happened? You know, how did it get there? How did we get to this point? And, you know, sort of how he feels about the entire thing and the staff. I mean, it's really good. So check that out at omaha.com. Walker just tweeted it out a few minutes ago as well. But I do feel like, unfortunately, we have reached the territory just given Creighton's inconsistencies over, you know, I mean, the entire season, really. But, I mean, especially when you think about it this way, since the new year started, it's been loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss at this point.
It's a very red-green when I'm looking at your screen over here.
The Kempom.
Not really red. I don't. What would you call that color?
It's a version of red.
It's like an off red,
almost like a salmon.
It's like yeah, not quite salmon, but I don't know, whatever.
It's red for all intents and purposes, you know. And then you think about each of those games in particular. I mean, the Seton Hall game, you're leading by 16 with, you know, 8 minutes to go or whatever it is. Villanova, you go on the road and you steal that.
Yep.
You play really well. St. John's smacked at home. Georgetown got away with murder. You know, Providence.
Georgetown, you're a nanosecond away from that being done at regulation.
Yeah. Played horribly at Providence defensively and lost a game that you certainly could have won. Xavier got away with murder, I think. And then, you know, Marquette just played so awful the other night, especially on the defensive end. And so you could make me a case that they could be 8-2 in the league right now. You could make me a case that they could be 4-6 in the league right now. And so when you get UConn coming into town, I think we're unfortunately in one of those places with this group right now where I sort of feel like I'm wondering about them mentally. I'm wondering about how things are sort of going to be. Now, the pink out and the big crowd and all that stuff should help them. But I always say this with teams who I'm not sure about mentally, Nebraska football over the last several years. What do you always hear with them? I kind of feel like they have to get off to a good start. I kind of feel like they have to get off to a good start. I kind of feel like they have to get off to a good start. I kind of feel like Creighton has to get off to a good start. Get some shots going, you know, early, just to feel like, all right, we're in it. And this isn't how it should be, but this is how it has been for Creighton. When they get going offensively, you see the best version of them defensively. Now, it should be the opposite, as any coach would ever tell you.
Defense channels the offense, but here it's the offense propels better defense.
Right. And so the ceiling, admittedly, is still not very high for them defensively, considering the parts that they have at their fingertips right now. But it's better when they're making shots. And so if you get that going early, then you could hang in there. And I could really see a case where that happens. But I think you're going to have to, you know, get some good results early.
Yeah, the thing that's always sort of fascinating about when these teams play is I feel like Creighton usually almost always shoots well. It's like they find some extra gear in this game, and they've been better versions of themselves.
They do find a way to play really well against UConn.
You have to start there, but I would also push back to the same idea. Like, this is, and I know they're the number 2 team or whatever their ranking is, but I don't look at this UConn team the same way that I did other ones that have come here to Omaha. And so I think that I think that
they are not nearly as much as an offensive juggernaut as they have been in recent years.
And so I think Creighton has the capability to stay in this game if they can shoot well.
Yep.
And, that Marquette game, it was pretty obvious. You have all these open looks and guys just couldn't throw it in the ocean, as they say. And so it was a struggle, but if they come out early, and as you said, you start to see some shots fall early, then I think that can sustain them for a while. I think in a weird way, it probably helps. Helps is a wrong word. I don't want to say helps, but losing by 24 to Marquette, I don't think they're going to get smacked like that twice in a row.
No, I think they'll show.
I'd be really surprised if they're down 30 points in this game. I mean, if they're down 12, okay, whatever. But that's not the same thing as like Marquette won that game by the 8-minute mark of the second half. You already knew that it was over for Creighton.
You could argue it was over in the first half. Yeah.
Excuse me, 8-minute mark of the first half.
Oh,
I said second half. Just from the attitude and the way it looked from how they were shooting and the way it looked defensively. I don't think you'll see that on Saturday. I don't know that they have enough to win. But I think they'll at least threaten UConn, who continues to, like I said, they look like they play with their food a little bit. They play.
They do.
And so, maybe Hurley has it extra turned up because Creighton has been a problem. Maybe someone do you think anyone has consulted a witch doctor? Is there a hex in this building?
Oh, great question.
Could that be a thing that comes
I mean,
up
if you look at the series history, you might think that Dan Hurley might need to get the sage out.
Sure.
On tomorrow.
So
I gotta check those numbers again.
Creighton, all of that to say that I think that Creighton will make it a game. I don't expect them to win. But I don't think they'll lose. They will lose by less than they lost to Marquette. And substantially.
All right. I like that. That's a good prediction. 9-3 all time against UConn.
That is so impressive.
And the 12 games have been decided by a grand total of 82 points. 10 of them have been decided by single digits. And this is all, of course, since UConn rejoined the league in 2020. What is their record here? In Omaha, I think they lost the last one in Omaha. That was the situation with last year, and then there was a Hurley Mac matchup in the NCAA tournament that we don't talk about, but that happened once in your favorite state, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Well, it wasn't in Rhode Island, but it was against Rhode Island, and that was a bad time for Creighton.
I don't remember that game.
That they couldn't. It was a lot like the Baylor game that one year where they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then the worst part about the Rhode Island one is that if you looked ahead, like that was the year they were matched up with the 1-16 and the 16.
Yeah. So that was a UMBC year.
Yeah.
And then UMBC beat Rhode Island. Because they made it to the Sweet 16.
And it was like K-State who ended up going
K-State
a long
as
way.
the 5 seed ended up winning that region, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Rhode Island game I remember in the NCAA tournament is they took out Trae Young. And I was in Vegas as this happened. It was like an 8-9 matchup or
Oklahoma?
a 7-10. And the blackjack table was really, really into the game. And people really seemed to be rooting against Trae Young. Like really just...
He was very hateable in college.
Very, very much rooting against Trae Young.
Did
that change? I don't recall him being liked in the NBA other than people appreciated his gifts maybe a little bit more.
Well, he's
talked about in a very polarizing way.
Yeah, he is.
Like the writers don't like Trae Young.
I think it just kind of goes away because he played for the Hawks and it was like, I don't have to really think about this.
They made it to the playoffs a couple times.
He had that one series against the Knicks.
Yep.
That 1 year, and I think people were sort of excited by it because.
And then I think he kind of no-showed in a critical playoff game, and that was it.
Creighton, by the way, 11-4 in pink out games. Over the first 15 pink out games.
How is a pink out game determined? It has to be in the month of February.
It's a Saturday game
in February.
Usually late January.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's a week. So you had to just decide how it matched up with sort of the schedule. And then, if you want to do it for a certain team.
Do you think they work with the conference or like, hey, we need a Saturday around this time. Give us a good opponent.
It usually works out where this week or last week you have it. And they happened to get it this week. So
if Nebraska tried that with the Big Ten, they would give them even more Sunday games than they already get.
Creighton has never played UConn in a pink out game, but they have won their last 3 against Xavier, DePaul, and Seton Hall. All crowds over 18,000. So I'm excited to see that place lit up. You again.
Expecting a good crowd?
Yeah,
Saturday?
Yeah, I think it will be.
It should be. It's UConn. They're coming to town. Number 2 team in the country.
There's always vitriol for UConn.
And it's Dan Hurley. People are going to be surrounding that long extended tunnel.
Dan Hurley and Brad Underwood in the same weekend here. Just instantly unlikable coaches in your conference.
Yeah. Bring out the hate this weekend in the I-80 corridor.
Man, an hour of hate would really be filled.
Exciting. Okay. You think Nebraska gets the job done?
I predicted before the week that they would go 1-1 this week. I thought the loss would be at Michigan. I thought the win would be against Illinois at home. I'm going to stick with that. I have to admit, the closer we get to this game, the more I'm just like somewhat concerned about it in a way that I probably wasn't at this time last week.
Interesting.
Which is weird because they're coming off such a strong performance against Michigan. But the way my dumb brain works is like they're going to get blitzed by this Illinois team at home somehow, which hasn't happened all year. I don't know why I'm thinking that now. However, I'll stick with what I said earlier. I like Nebraska to win. Jake said by 3. I'll say by 5.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do Nebraska by 1 then.
Okay.
But I think I feel good about Nebraska on Sunday. I like their ability to respond to that. And then I don't think it'll really matter at all.
Everything that has been thrown their way, they will respond to this with Illinois. And I do think the one thing that I like the most in this game is Nebraska's defense will show up at home.
There's no doubt.
And that crowd is going to be awesome.
Yep. It's going to be really, really good.
What a weekend for basketball in Nebraska.
A pink crowd and a white crowd. Mr. Pink and Mr. White.
Mr. White.
Did you ever watch?
I have.
Reservoir Dogs.
Watched Reservoir Dogs.
Good.
Very good movie.
Excellent.
I've adopted the view on tipping that Steve Buscemi had at the very beginning of it.
How many points will Keaton Wagler have?
He's going to play 38 minutes or more.
Yeah.
He's going to attempt at least 14 shots. He'll probably get 12 free throws. We'll put him down for, we're going to say 26 points.
I was going to say the exact same number. He's shooting 44%.
He's
from
very
3.
good.
44% from 3 on heavy usage too. I mean, it's crazy.
Now, I'm going to say something.
He's on a heater.
It's a bit of a flopper. He throws himself to the floor a lot.
He's skinny.
I mean, he throws himself to the. Michigan does that.
He gets tossed around because he's
bigs
slight.
were going through the lane and throwing themselves to the floor without contact.
Yeah, I was going to say 26 as well, but maybe it's a good weekend of basketball around here. Okay, that is going to do it for us.
We're done.
Appreciate you guys listening. We will be back next
Novak
week.
Djokovic won, by the way. We never told the people.
Sorry, he did. That was probably because it was bad news and we had to deliver it that way. All right. Don't forget the Pink Out broadcast going on starting in just a couple minutes. Drop off at the Hope Lodge at 80th and Farnham with paper supplies. That's what we're doing over there, and plenty more throughout the remainder of the day. Appreciate y'all listening. We'll talk to you on Monday.